On the bridge with a Tycon flow snap, vivid like the Nikon. Been cold but the vibe warm, keep it locked like the vice arm. They got her twisted like the coat arm, heart something froze like the snowstorm. Her tote bag match her throat charm. She from the land of the sand where they flex so subtle when her drink mint muddle. Left home and her man in the game that he played for the sand of the shade. She parades you to square in her shades. She like why you do that, niggas be deceptive. Young pretty restless, long as a check is addressed to a residence. She self-heal therapy, she beats in on clearance, but she shopping for clarity. Reap what she sold for the dividend, know what time is a medicine. Copping the wristwatch, Cartier with the bezel on her credit. The man in hers where it's due. I swear she's so sadistic, defensive, pessimistic, reclusive. She too lit, independent. She too quick to dismiss courtship, concerned with malice. She pile up as the bout ends. She throws a talent. She clutch a half full chalice. Sip you from fountains. Check her rap. She chic, maneuver mountains. Fly away with you. Escape the negative. I'm just trying to let it fly away with you. Escape the negative. I'm just trying to let it. So girl, come on, let's fly. Girl, come on, let's fly. I let the thumbnail distract me from the bigger picture. Losing sanity to misplaced feelings. Real shit kept deep in her makeup bristles. Hotline blink, she sent 1,000 kisses. I just tripped, I sold 1 million tickets. I'm way too focused on this image lately. My mind is racing, million miles a minute. No time to slide, I guess I'm bad with distance. I never text you back, lately my thoughts they drifted around the shots to keep us all from losing who we are. We're products of a generation where we swiping left across the interfaces. Out my mind, I tend to be evasive. Yeah. All that notice how the money made us. Girl, come on, let's fly. Girl, come on, let's fly away. Girl, come on, let's fly.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so shout out to everybody who is in the building. It's early and late at the same time. Good to see y'all. All right, if you guys can hear me okay, please give me a thumbs up or radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, give me a thumbs down or an angry face, and I'm gonna shout out everybody who is in the building early. All right, we got Chili C in the house, we got Tania Marie in the building, we got Carlton Way in the house, we got Brooklyn Queen, my man Black Free Thinker is in the building. Shout out to my man We Lit. I don't know if y'all heard, but YouTube decided to demonetize the Reacts channel. So like my man We Lit said, free Reacts. Your boy has appealed it, so hopefully they will change their minds. If not, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? We still gonna be getting some content up on there pretty soon for y'all anyway. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Patrick Taylor, and also shout out to Stephen Nimley. All right, it's good to see each and every one of you. All right, so we're gonna be talking about what's going on at Tyson, and I'm not talking about the fight with one of the Paul brothers. I'm talking about something else. All right, we're gonna be also talking about some issues going on with quote unquote Haitians, right? And we're also going to be talking about your boy Ron DeSantis, because Ron DeSantis just really wants to be a part of this whole migrant crisis thing, but it's just not really affecting him like that because nobody really pays attention to Ron DeSantis all like that. You know what I'm saying? But he wants to be a part of it badly. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be a part of it badly, so he's gonna try to put himself in it using this Haitian thing as a proxy. So we're gonna talk about that. How many people remember that story that we talked about from Palm Beach County, where the undocumented bros raped a minor? If you guys remember that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't remember that, give me a thumbs down. What we're going to do now is we're going to listen to the sheriff, Rick Bradshaw, talk about the arrest of some of these undocumented bros and what they're finding out about them. Now, here's my question. How many people heard about this particular crime? I know we talked about it, but everybody might not have seen the stream, or everybody might not be caught up when they're viewing yet. If you guys heard about this particular incident that we're talking about here, give me a thumbs up. If you guys have not heard about it, then give me a thumbs down. And We Lit says he can't hear. If you guys can hear, give me some flames in the chat. If you guys can't, give me thumbs down.
They shouldn't be here. This is the same thing that we saw where the student was killed by the person that was here illegally. That's why we pay so much attention. Folks, our border is the ocean. There's no fence there. We are the fence. That's why we spend as much time as we do and dedicate resources to stopping people before they get here. In all likelihood, these three people came through Mexico. They didn't come through here. I can tell you that for sure. We would have checked in our database. But for them to be in this country, to be able to commit these type of crimes is unconscionable. The federal government has put the American people in jeopardy.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. Do you all agree with him that because of the failures of the federal government to enforce border law, that the American people are in danger? If you guys feel that this is a true statement that this sheriff has made, give me a thumbs up. If you guys do not feel that this is a true statement and it's inaccurate for some reason, give me a thumbs down and let me know why.
Intelligence section, who works very closely with the FBI, has also identified that the most dangerous gangs in the world are now in Miami from Venezuela. They make MS-13 look like school kids. They're not going to stay just in Miami. They're going to go where they need to go to do what they do. They don't know if it's Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. They just go to do what they're going to do, and we're going to have to deal with them. You know, forget about the 3 million people that came across the border, put their hands up to Border Patrol and says, I give up. You know, they get the cell phone and the gift card and all that kind of garbage. What about the 1.5 million people that they call gotaways? Those are the people that don't want to go to get caught by Border Patrol because they're cartel, they're gang members, they're wanted, they're packing fentanyl. I watched a
Now, remember when we talked about this before, and I said that a lot of these people are fugitives and prison escapees? At the time when I said that, that wasn't really being said very often. You guys remember that? Now you got law enforcement saying it.
Surveillance video that was taken down in Texas of 10 guys, military age, dressed in camouflage, backpacks. They had carpet on their shoes so they didn't leave footprints, in a military formation coming into the country. What do you think they're here for? They're not here to play the lotto. They're going to do bad things. So the director of the FBI testified that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to have something bad happen here. Because in the 1.5 million gotaways, he's worried that there's people from ISIS, people from the terrorist watch list that could be in the United States. Our agency is still the lead agency for Homeland Security for all of South Florida. And every 3 months, we have a meeting to make sure that we're going to be operationally ready for whatever might happen here in South Florida. But people have to pay attention. We need the help of the public also. Our program, if you know something or see something, say something, is very important now. So if you see something you don't think is right, especially with human trafficking, because there's 85,000 kids that are unaccounted for that came across the border. The human traffickers are going to be the ones that are going to prey on those people. And we've made those cases here in South Florida. So if you really know something or you see something, say something. But my message is, don't be complacent, because what is happening at the Mexican border is going to affect us. Any questions?
Sure, you've been alone.
All right, so there's that. All right. Now, again, that's not coming from a border state sheriff department. That's coming from Florida. All right. So next, how he was talking about ISIS, not quite ISIS, but an illegal migrant from Lebanon was caught at the border admitting that he's Hezbollah. He's a Hezbollah terrorist hoping to make a bomb and was headed to New York City. Now, let me ask you guys, what do you guys think that he was headed to New York City to do? He wanted to make a bomb. What was he planning on doing? And here's my question. How many of these people similar to this do you all think have gotten in so far? Let's see. We got 2 ads to wait for real quick. If you guys haven't smashed the like button, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell, please take a moment, hit the bell, and share the stream to your social media. Let's see. Still got a little bit. Still got a little bit. 3 seconds. Let's see what they're talking about. Oh, we waited all that, and it's just a little music video. All right, it's all good. So now here it says a Lebanese migrant who was caught sneaking over the border admitted he's a member of Hezbollah and hoped to make a bomb, and his destination was New York, the Post can reveal. Basil Bessel Abadi, who was 22, was caught by Border Patrol on March 9th near El Paso, Texas. While in custody, he asked what he was doing in the U.S., to which he replied, "I'm going to try to make a bomb," according to a Border Patrol document exclusively obtained by the Post. Let me ask you guys this question. That sounds like it's a little bit too easy. That sounds like it's a little bit too easy. Out of all the migrants that they interview, and then this guy just comes out and says this, What y'all think? You know what I'm saying? But Ebadi later claimed in an interview that he had been trying to flee Lebanon and Hamas because he didn't want to delete people, and said once you're in, you can never get out, according to internal ICE documents. So he wanted to get away from deleting people, but wanted to come here to make a bomb. Does that make any sense? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. So you want to get away from violence and deletion to come here and make a bomb. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Ebadi said in a sworn interview, which I don't know how much that validates the interview, because I'm pretty sure that he's not the same religion that this interview was sworn in. But Ebadi said in a sworn interview after his arrest that he had trained with Hezbollah for 7 years and served as an active member guarding weapons locations for another 4 years, the documents show. Ebadi's training focused on quote-unquote jihad and deleting people that were not Muslim, he said. Border agents continue to see a surge in migrants whose names appear on the terror watch list entering the U.S. illegally as crossings continue at record levels. Hezbollah, an Iran-backed terror group, has launched missiles into northern Israel following the Hamas attack on October 7th that have killed over a dozen IDF soldiers and 7 civilians. All right. Now, here go my question. Who in the comment section knows how many people got deleted by the IDF? How many people got deleted by the IDF? You guys know? Ebadi didn't have documents when he entered the U.S., claiming they were robbed with a knife while he was in Costa Rica, according to ICE documents. So now, again, this guy was supposed to be a Hezbollah militant, and he wasn't able to defend himself from a knife attack. He also admitted to using a fake birthday name in Sweden, in Ecuador, where he claimed his father resides, and in Panama last year. He said he originally hoped to go to New York and then move around the country. Ebadi was immediately placed into isolation and was referred for an interview with the Tactical Terrorism Response Team for quote-unquote making terroristic threats to personnel. Internal documents show he was marked for deportation from the United States, although it was not clear which country he would be returned to. Border agents recorded 98 encounters of terror watch-listed individuals at both the northern and southern border in fiscal year 2022, and almost twice as many, 172, in 2023 fiscal year, which ends September 20th. So far, in the first 4 months of 2024, 59 people have been apprehended, according to federal data. The total number of terror watch-listed encounters between fiscal years 2017 and 2021 amounted to just 30 people. But after that time, the criteria for being on the list, which was never disclosed, was expanded. All right. Just days before former President Donald Trump's recent visit to Eagles Pass, Texas, a terror watch-listed migrant crossed into the area illegally, according to an internal agency memo the Post obtained. Colombian national Carlos Obed Yepes Biota, who is 40, was first apprehended by the Texas Department of Public Safety, which handed him to the custody of the Border Patrol. Border agents made the determination about Yepes Boita's alleged terror ties. This underscores the need for border security measures, as the potential threats to public safety and national security are evident and exploit security vulnerabilities. Texas DPS Lieutenant Chris Olivares told the Post at the time. The federal government has failed to enact border security measures, and the state of Texas, through Governor Abbott's Operation Lone Star, will continue to take unprecedented action to help secure the border, Olivares said. All right. So this story, to me, this story is kind of shaky. You guys agree? If you guys agree this story is kind of shaky, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, you believe that story wholehearted, give me a thumbs up. Now, here is a believable story. How many people are aware of what's going on at Tyson? If you're aware of what's going on at Tyson, give me a thumbs up. If you're not aware of what's going on at Tyson, then give me a thumbs down. Tyson Foods hoping to hire 40,000 immigrants for labor manufacturing job. All right. And what else happened is that a large amount of American citizen employees were laid off. So we're going to listen to this video real quick.
In New York City, shelters are overrun with migrants. Many of them have been bussed in from states like Texas and Florida.
It's created a crisis in the city that state officials are scrambling to address. Meanwhile, the migrants are trying to build a new life in America. That includes finding housing and jobs, and in some cases, work that no one else is willing to do.
Let's bring in national correspondent Axel Tercios, who's live in New York for us. Axel, you found one company that's looking to hire migrants.
Now, when they say that nobody else is willing to do this work, how many times do you guys walk downtown, or do you drive past somebody sitting on a corner where they have a sign saying that they will work for money? People that's panhandling and stuff like that. So now my question is, where does the media get this idea that quote unquote people don't want to work these jobs?
Migrants in the city. What did you find?
Well, Bianca, Chris, the food processing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out pretty soon. If you guys agree with Patrick that there's a big chance that the U.S. government is giving these companies incentives to do this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that there's the United States is doing that, then give me a thumbs down. I would not be surprised at all. Probably a tax incentive or, some type of credit. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Company Tyson wants to hire 52,000 asylum seekers for factory jobs. And the company understands and they are aware that these are jobs that many find unpleasant. So we're talking about jobs like food packing, meat packing, and washing meat. And they say that the jobs start paying at $16.50 an hour plus benefits. So the company joined.
So they're going to start these people out at $16. What do you say? $16.25 with benefits.
Forces with a nonprofit 10 Partnership for Refugees, which is a network of over 400 companies around the world that are committing to helping asylum seekers find jobs and refugees also. And the plan is to hire as many people as possible.
They're committed to getting themselves cheap labor. What they're actually committed to is they have a commission. They're committed to getting themselves some cheap labor is what this is.
Possible from the 180,000 asylum seekers that have come through the shelter system here in New York City. In fact, Tyson already hires more than 42,000 immigrants. And I want to share new data that we just found. So according to an Economic Policy Institute analysis of federal data, about 50% of the labor market's recent growth came from foreign-born workers between January 2023 and January 2024. The chair of the Federal Reserve said last week that, quote, immigration and labor participation contributed to economic growth. Let's take a listen now.
So see, it's interesting, right? If you listen to what he's saying, they're also using the migrant crisis. They're using this influx of migrants to artificially boost the economy and to quantitatively ease the unemployment numbers.
According to an Economic Policy Institute analysis of federal data, about 50% of the labor market's recent growth came from foreign-born workers between January 2023 and January 2024. The chair of the Federal Reserve said last week that, quote, immigration and labor participation contributed to economic growth. Let's take a listen now.
The immigration that we saw was a notable factor of the 2023 and 2024 economic outcomes. And
so Jerome Powell is sitting up here saying that the immigration, quote unquote, is partially responsible for the improvement in the economy, which is interesting because the immigration is also taking away from the GDP by using taxpayer dollars to funnel into the maintenance of this migrant population. Okay.
And of course, we're aware of that, and it plays a role in our thinking about appropriate policy and the path of the economy.
Well, Chris, Bianca, the company Tyson and both tents, they are aware that many of these migrants, are not eligible to work right now because they're waiting on their work permits, but they say that they want to make the process easy for these migrants. Chris, Bianca.
And Axel, like you said, a lot of these asylum seekers are not yet authorized to work. So how is the company trying to work around that?
Well, they're saying that they are going to provide a lot of benefits for them, but I'm going to go into that quickly in a second. But before I go into that, I want to say that, so how the process looks like for these migrants. So here, the Roosevelt Hotel is one of the first places they see when they arrive to the city of New York. They come here to try to get a space in the shelter system in the city. And after they do that, they have to start the application process for asylum. So 180 days after that takes place, they're eligible to receive work permits. But many of them are not getting those work permits because of the immigration backlogs, this is taking longer than expected. So the company says that they understand that these are migrant families, sometimes single mothers with children. So they want to retain those workers by providing benefits such as temporary housing.
They literally have the exact same type of people here in the United States that they could provide the same jobs to if they wanted to. But this is evidence right here that they don't want to, right? Shout out to DSM Sinister. DSM Sinister says, I live 2 hours west of Perry, Iowa. Those white folks and the migrants who work there are in a state of shock. Yes, the former immigrants will lose their jobs to illegals. Crazy. And let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think that Tyson Chicken is going to be the last place that we hear of that's doing something like this? Or are we going to start to hear more and more and more and more and more stories like this as time goes on?
Relocation stipend, part-time off to better acclimate to their new lives. And employees will also receive on-site childcare and transportation as well as paid time off to a
on-site childcare. Let me ask you, wow. Let me ask you guys this question. How many American people get on-site childcare at the job? Wow, really? On-site childcare for the migrants. Make it make sense.
Seeing a relocation stipend, part-time off to better acclimate to their new lives. And employees will also receive on-site childcare and transportation as well as paid time off to attend court hearings. And they're also saying that they're allocating $1.5 million to help them with legal services. Tonight at 8, we're going to take a closer.
And they're going to give them $1.5 million to help them with legal services.
Look, and my colleague Megan Smith and I, at what the process looks like for migrants 48 hours after they arrived into the city of New York. Chris, Bianca.
Axel Tercios live in New York for us. Axel, thank you so much.
All right, so there's that. All right, so now here it says Tyson Food says it's eager. Look at this. Tyson Food says it's eager to hire 40,000 asylum seekers and migrants arriving in the United States, according to a report from Bloomberg. Okay. The multinational food conglomerate is allegedly hoping to hire personnel from the massive influx of migrants coming into the United States from South and Central America. So they have specific places that they plan on hiring the migrants from. Again, they're not really mentioning the Haitians. Let me ask you guys this question. Why do you guys think that they're not mentioning the Haitians? They're very, very loyal. Tyson Human Resources leader Garrett Dolan said in a statement to the outlet. Now, here's my question. How does he know that? Where does he get this idea that these migrants are loyal from? How does he know? What's his experience with them where he knows, these people are loyal? I think it's interesting that he feels that they're loyal when they're not really, you know what I'm saying? Like they're so loyal that they turn their back on where they're from. What brand of loyalty is that? You know what I'm saying? They've been uprooted, and what they want is stability. How have they been uprooted? What they want is a sense of belonging. Well, wait a minute. Let's stop here. I need you guys to explain to me how the migrants have been uprooted. Is there anybody in here that can explain or give us a story or a testimony of how any of these migrants coming into the United States has been uprooted? Where have they been uprooted from? Did they come here on a slave ship? What are we talking about? Yeah, I actually agree with this 110%. LS says black people staying in America after slavery is loyal, sir. Facts. If you guys agree with LS, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And shout out to Patrick. Patrick says, nope, UPS is laying off thousands, but they get replaced with illegals. Pay them $12 to $15 is way cheaper than those workers making 50 to 60 bucks. And don't get me started on those automakers in Detroit. Oh yeah, that's coming. That's definitely coming. The automakers all over the place, anywhere for the most part where there's factory or any type of labor jobs, this outcome is probably on its way there. You know what I'm saying? It's probably on its way there. We would like to employ another 42,000 of them if we could find them, Dolan said. Well, all they got to do is just have Greg Abbott send the buses to Tyson. I mean, it's not like they're hard to find. Right? He's sitting up there acting like he can't find any migrants anywhere. Are you serious? Have you walked downtown, you know what I'm saying? Lower East Manhattan lately? Like, have you gone to downtown Chicago? Have you gone to Denver? They're not that hard to find. The company is disputing the report, releasing a statement on their website accusing the article of quote unquote misinformation. So Bloomberg is being accused of misinformation. In recent days, there has been a lot of misinformation in the media about our company, and we feel compelled to set the record straight, Tyson said in a statement. Tyson Foods is strongly opposed to illegal immigration, and we lead the way in participating in 2 major government programs to help employers combat unlawful employment, E-Verify and mutual agreement between the government and employers program. Tyson Foods employs 120,000 team members in the United States, all of whom are required to be legally authorized to work in the country, the statement adds. We have a history of strong hiring practices, and anybody who is legally able is welcome to apply to an open job listing. Tyson very recently made headlines after the company announced it was shutting down less profitable plants in other regions of the country. So they're going to hire 42,000 migrants, but they're also shutting down plants. Let me ask you guys this question. How does that math work out? They're hiring 42,000 migrants, but they're shutting down plants in other places in the country. Does that make any sense? What kind of sense does that make? Workers at Tyson's Perry, Iowa facility officially learned of the location's planned closure on Monday, according to the Des Moines Register. The plant reportedly has a workforce of more than 1,200. All right. So they're bringing in 4,200 migrants, getting rid of 1,200 domestic workers. After careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to permanently close our Perry, Iowa pork plant, a Tyson Foods spokesperson confirmed Tuesday to Fox Business. The spokesperson said the closing of the Perry pork plant emphasizes our focus to, quote unquote, optimize the efficiency of our operations to best serve our customers. Let me ask you guys this question. There's a lot packaged inside of that statement. What does all of that mean? What does all of that mean? Because that definitely means something. What kind of efficiency is it that they're actually looking for or that they're actually going for? In 2023, Tyson Food indicated 6 chicken processing facilities would close permanently. And more recently, the company has added a pair of case-ready value-added beef plants to the list of closures, according to the company's first quarter earning reports. So they got all this money to provide all these services to migrants and to hire 42,000 migrants, but the processing plants and factories are dropping left and right. Now, here's the thing, right? This is probably going to be a pattern that we see, and it's going to spread all over the United States. Anywhere where these companies can take advantage of this cheap labor, they're going to take it. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. The question is, who does that affect at those levels of employment? Who gets affected by that the most? The shuttering of those facilities, which are located across 6 states, is meant to, quote unquote, optimize asset utilization. Basically, what they're saying is that they're going to try to get more bang for their buck. They're going to try to close down those plants and increase their profits, is what you call downsizing. Tyson plants in Arkansas, Virginia, Indiana, and Missouri are similarly scheduled to be shuttered in the coming months. So you have to ask yourself this question: how are you going to hire 40,000 immigrants? You got all the money to do that, but you're closing these plants down left and right. How does that work? What's really going on? I think we all know what's really going on. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate each and every one of you all. If you guys have not smashed the like button from wherever you're watching at, please take a moment, smash that like button. We got 29 people watching and we got 27 likes. If we could get the likes to 40, that'd be great. If you haven't shared the stream, please take a moment, share the stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the bell icon twice. So now Tyson is dealing with a boycott. Thousands of people are boycotting Tyson, all right, amid plan to hire 42,000 asylum seekers in New York. Angry campaigners are urging shoppers to boycott Tyson Foods. Now, let me ask you guys this question. How many of y'all are going to boycott Tyson Foods? Anybody in here going to boycott Tyson Foods? Let me know. And its products amid its new move to hire thousands of asylum seekers, okay? The food company has shut down. You see this? The food company has shut down more of its poultry and meat plants across the U.S., including facilities in Iowa, Virginia, and Arkansas, which employed over 2,000 people. So they got rid of 2,000 people, and they're going to bring in 42,000 people. We're going to get rid of 2,000. We're going to bring in 42,000. Mathematically, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Foods has recently hired dozens of immigrants, with the offer including immigration lawyers. So, they're even spending money on immigration lawyers. The boycott is motivated by the fear that immigrants are replacing Americans for low-grade jobs. Statistics have shown that there's a significant decrease in the number of native-born Americans in the blue-collar workforce. Well, why is that? What's contributing to those changes? America First Legal and many campaigners are pushing for a boycott of Tyson Foods and its product. The boycott is due to the company's recent closures of multiple poultry and meat processing plants in Iowa, Indiana, Virginia, Arkansas, and Missouri. So again, we need to make the math make sense. We need to make this math make sense, right? The closures are because Tyson plans to hire thousands of asylum seekers in New York, a move that is extremely controversial among Americans, okay? The campaigners are accusing Tyson of using the closures to ditch American workers for cheap migrant labor. America First Legal is a conservative action group launched by former Trump administration officials, and they've warned the company that favoring immigrants is illegal. The group posted a statement online that reads, "It's illegal under federal law to discriminate against American citizens based on their citizenship in favor of non-citizens of any kind when it comes to employment." So far, Tyson Foods has yet to respond to the statement or speak on its decision to employ more migrants. Okay? So now here they're going to talk about all of the plants that Tyson has closed recently. Earlier this week, Tyson announced the closure of its pork plant in Perry, Iowa. That shutdown has cost 1,276 people their job in a town that houses just 8,000 people. Now, let me ask you guys this question. What is that going to do to the town? What is that going to do to the town, guys? Let me know what that's going to do to the town. According to the local news sources, the majority of workers at the Iowa plant were Latinos. All right. Many last year, in May last year, Tyson Foods closed down 2 plants in Arkansas and Virginia, putting over 1,600 people out of jobs. The month before, the company announced it was working on cutting 10% of its corporate jobs and 15% of its executive roles. After the company's 2022-2023 sales numbers hit a 0.8% slump, Tyson announced plans to shutter several more plants, including its locations in Arkansas, Indiana, and Missouri, which these areas are already areas that, for the most part, for all intents and purposes, are already dead. The closure is scheduled for the first half of 2024. Okay. So let's take a listen to this right here.
Meat and Tyson laying off 1,200 workers after closing its pork factory in Perry, Iowa, only later to announce 52,000 jobs for migrants.
The company's excuse, migrants are getting the jobs that Americans don't want. A human resources executive for the company telling Bloomberg the migrants have been, quote, very loyal. They've been uprooted, and what they want is stability. What they want is a sense of belonging.
Let's bring in Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Pete Hegseth. Pete, good to see you.
Yes.
But again, lower wages, taking American jobs. This was the reason why Democrats were opposed to illegal immigration 10, 15, 25 years ago. But here it plays out. This costs Americans a livelihood.
That's true. It was also the reason why the Chamber of Commerce crowd of the Republican Party was so resistant to Donald Trump back in 2015, 2016, dependent on importing cheap labor. He said, we're going to build that wall. We're going to stop this. I'm going to put Americans first. Wages will rise as a result. And now you've got an inversion of that with the Democrat Party saying, come on in. And then we've heard glimpses of it, right? When Nancy Pelosi said, who else is going to pick our crops, right? I mean, that's their mindset. And the businesses are happy to do it when there's no e-verifier, there's no consequences. And so cheaper labor for this business to produce a product. And it's not an easy job. You know, people that do those jobs, they're dirty, they're tough, but Americans should have the first shot, and they should have a good shot at a good wage.
And it's so dismissive, the language that they use, that Americans don't want these jobs. Really?
Americans had these jobs,
right?
And they lost them.
Correct.
Exactly.
And if you thought about paying, if Americans are doing the jobs, they're going to raise the wages for the jobs too. That's all good for everybody.
Yeah.
Shifting gears now to this.
So, yeah, that's what we got going on. The boycott is motivated by Tyson's decision to hire thousands of asylum seekers, primarily located in New York and other cities. They need to fill up the roles in more undesirable categories due to the shrinking employment rate of 3.9%. Well, what about the shrinking employment rate of them closing down plants? What about the shrinking employment rate of them closing down plants? Tyson currently employs over 40,000 immigrants in its 120,000 plus strong workforce in its U.S. businesses. They're boosting this number significantly by collaborating with the Tent Partnership for Refugees, which is a nonprofit focused on helping immigrants in the United States. So as you guys can see, what they're doing is, instead of partnering with like urban resources, they're partnering with non-government organizations that help migrants to be able to easily transition them into a job role at Tyson. Mind you, while Tyson is shutting down plants across the United States left and right. Garrett Dolan, the head of Tyson's social efforts division, recently told Bloomberg that the company would like to employ another 42,000 if we can find them. Now, again, it's not a matter of if they can find them. They can find them all over the place. There's migrants all over the place. So what that basically means is that they will hire more migrants in addition to this 42,000. That's what that means. You know what I'm saying? Over the past few weeks, the company has hired more asylum seekers from Mexico, Colombia, and Venezuela, all from a job fair in New York. Okay? According to Dolan's statements to Bloomberg, companies like Tyson need more asylum seekers to fill employment gaps at their plants. How is there employment gaps when you're closing plants down? Do you guys see? And there's no explanation that is addressing that question, which is a very important question. How do you have employment gaps when you're closing plants down? That's the question. Their job offers for immigrants start at $16.50 per hour with benefits like fully paid for immigration lawyers. Now, and again, as far as these lower wages go, with services like the immigration lawyers and daycare, that might actually bring those wages up to close to what it costs to hire an American, because Americans don't get free childcare and Americans don't get immigration lawyers. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with that, give me a thumbs down. Now, this paragraph here addresses this. There is a fear that migrants are replacing Americans. Campaigners are kicking back against Tyson's decision to employ more immigrants because of fears that they are replacing Americans in the labor industry. This is especially critical in the meat packaging and other plant-related jobs, which are generally considered, quote unquote, undesirable for Americans themselves, which is interesting because it's Americans who work those jobs. Data released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics show that between July and August of 2023, the workforce suffered a significant decline in native-born workers at about 1.2 million people, in contrast to foreign-born workers who witnessed a boom in employment. And that's because there's an artificial boom in foreign-born people in the population. Let me ask you guys this question. All of those people that work at Tyson that are losing their jobs because of the plants closing, do you all think that they think that their jobs are undesirable? If you guys think that they think that their jobs are undesirable, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. On social media, several people have expressed their displeasure at Tyson Foods for deciding to hire more migrant workers. One person wrote on TikTok, "I haven't even eaten Tyson in years, and I won't start now. Their food is crap anyway, and they treat the farm animals like they're in Event H. No thanks." Another said, "It's one thing hiring them, but laying off U.S. citizens to hire them is another." A third person said, "Are they hiring them because citizens don't want to do that job anymore, though? I would like the whole story. That's a lot of positions to fill if there isn't an underlying issue." One more person said, "Disgusting. Hope they go out of business very soon." So we got some big issues at Tyson. Their math isn't making a lot of sense. But when it comes to these big companies, as we all know, they can do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Foods is facing a boycott following a report that the company plans to hire migrants to work at its facilities. Now, let me ask you guys this question. How many Tyson factories and plants are even still left after the mass closings that they've done? Are there even any left? Tyson Foods is facing boycott calls following a report that the company planned to hire migrants to work at its factories while shutting factories down all over the United States. Conservatives reacted with outrage to a now retracted Scripps News article claiming that the company was hiring some of the asylum seekers who arrived in New York City. However, a spokesperson for Tyson Foods told Newsweek the figures presented in that retracted article were inaccurate. Tyson Foods responded to the boycott calls in a statement, and that's that misinformation statement that they gave before. Okay. So for the most part, this article just goes on to reinforce all that stuff that we've been talking about as far as Tyson goes. Okay. So now next, what we're going to talk about is the way that the United States is treating the Haitian migrants. All right. How many people have heard that it's been determined that the situation in Haiti is not a humanitarian crisis? If you guys heard that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not hear that, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to RJ Quick. What's good with it, bro? If you guys were not aware, the quote unquote global community has deemed that what's going on in Haiti right now does not constitute as a international crisis or an asylum qualifying situation. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with that? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to my man, Ricky. Let's check it out.
Andy Biggs. And Congressman, just to remind the viewers that it was at the Del Rio, Texas bridge that the Biden FAA stopped Fox News and its drone coverage from filming the disaster underneath that bridge temporarily. But again, what do you anticipate happens with the Haitian migrants that will surely try to enter the United States?
Well, they're going to come from two directions. They're going to try to go through the sea, and some are going to come on over through Mexico because that was where the big surge happened in 21 that you guys reported on so well. I think what's going to happen is I think the Biden administration is going to try to find a way to bring these people in, and they're going to claim that they're refugees.
So now you see, right? He said they're going to try to claim that they're refugees. Are we looking at the same thing? These people look like they're refugees. Shout out to DeAndre. What's good with it, bro? These people look like they're pretty legitimate refugees. You know what I'm saying?
And but if they were going to be refugees, you'd be working with the UN Office of Refugees, and also you would treat them more like you did the Afghani refugees. You would be putting.
Now, here's the thing, right? How do you do that when they don't have a functional government right now? That's my question. How do you do that when you don't have a functional government right now?
Them in camps, perhaps even on military bases, but I don't anticipate this administration will do it. I also don't think that they're going to vet them properly, and that is one of the biggest problems that we see on the southern border. You're going to see it here because another surge, and when those surges come, it's very difficult.
Shout out
to
to
do the
David
vetting.
Brown. What's good with it, bro?
So the result is we let people into the country that are just self-reporting. We don't know who they are really. We don't know what their purpose is.
Now, mind you, right, this is something that's been going on with all the migrants. All of these problems that he's talking about are literally all problems that are going on with all of the migrants, except for we don't have live footage of a war zone situation in all of those people's country. We do have live war zone footage of situations going on in Haiti, yet they've deemed the Haitian situation not a humanitarian situation, which I find interesting. I find that extremely interesting. And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys watching. We got 39 people watching and we got 35 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 50, that'd be great. Also, if you guys have not shared the stream to your social media, please help us break out of the YouTube algorithm by sharing the stream to your social media.
We don't know where they're going. And, America is very generous. But we've let in almost 10 million people in the last 3 years under Joe Biden illegally, plus the 3 or 4 million that came in legally. So the question is ultimately, how many more of these people are going to come, and how many more can we handle as an economy and as a country?
Andy, migration is not happening in a vacuum. To your point, we've let 10 million people come into the country, and to have more come, I think people are rightfully very nervous. But if you're going to make the case that there was persecution in a home country, probably Haitians could make that argument. I share your concern that they've emptied the prisons in Haiti, and if you have those really bad dudes coming into America and they're not vetted, and they won't be vetted, all of a sudden they're on the streets of Chicago and New York and LA, creating chaos. And so it seems like there should be a more balanced approach to Haiti. But I think the problem is a lot of Americans and a lot of Republican legislators don't have faith in the Biden administration that they'll do a good job and the right job by way of Haiti and the vetting.
Yeah, and justifiably so, too.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man DeAndre for being a like enforcer. Make sure you guys spam the chat with some of those like enforcer emojis. Definitely appreciate you, bro. Make sure you guys do exactly what he says on the screen there.
Sean, I think, is this administration has not done a great job vetting, period. And now you're going to get a surge coming in. And, in international law, these folks would be going to the first safe country and have to await in refugee camps until they've been vetted and see if you can stabilize.
Let me ask you guys this. Where is the first safe country when it comes to Haiti? Hey, I'm pretty sure, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the Dominican Republic has a block on Haitians being able to come in. So being that Haiti is on an island, where is the next country that Haitians can go to and seek refuge? That's my question for you guys. What do you guys think? Where can they go?
It's your home country, and then you go back to your home country. But that's not necessarily the Biden way. The Biden way has been to just open them up and let people come in regardless of their background and their purpose for being in the United States.
Just before we move on, Congressman, one of the ways that immigrants from Haiti have been able to come into the country, it's Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Haiti under the Biden administration, is through the humanitarian parole program that they launched. I believe it was at the end of 2022. But by some estimates, 30,000 individuals are allowed in every month. About 400,000 people have come in so far. And based on my reading of the law, these people, after 1 year, they can get Medicaid. And that is just astonishing to me, that the federal government would be funding Medicaid for these people. And
well, and the thing is, we know over in California, they're funding Medi-Cal, which is the state health insurance for illegal migrants, not necessarily Haitians, but for the large population of migrants that they have over there.
How many more are they going to let in? And they use this as, this is a border policy. The way they messaged it is, this is how they protect the border.
Yeah, Dagan, you're exactly right. So they not only will they get Medicaid, they're going to get additional benefits and work permits to be able to go out and work. And that's
so now, mind you, they're going to get all these benefits, and then if they mess around and get a job from Tyson, they're going to get additional funds to help with a lawyer, and they got daycare while they're at work. And with the state benefits, they probably get daycare too. You know what I'm saying?
Special program for those 4 nations that you mentioned. Yeah. And then they will say, when I say they, the Biden administration will say, see what we've done to curb illegal border crossings. But the reality is those are still illegal border crossings, and they haven't handled them the way you would handle either a true asylum claim or a true refugee claim. What they're doing is they're creating these subcategories that there's really no authority under the Title VIII to do. And then they're going to bring them in, bring these people in and say, we're going to let you in. Now, I'm not saying that what's happening in Haiti is not some of the most heinous stuff we've seen in our hemisphere in a long time. It is gross and it's terrible.
So then, but it's not enough for asylum. See, like the thing that's interesting about this is the blatant double standards.
But we also have to be measured in how we respond to that, and make sure that we're protecting our own citizens as well.
And we can't expect Joe Biden to be measured, to your point. But Congressman, we want to get your take on this as well. Hunter Biden has refused the House Oversight Committee's invitation for a public hearing next week. Oh, good gracious!
All right, so there's that. That's the segment on Haiti. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we are going to look at a brief video that gives a rundown from the mainstream media's perspective of the history of U.S. intervention in Haiti. Now, let me ask you guys this question. How many of you all know all of the events that the United States intervened in Haiti with? If you guys know, list them all in the comment section.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken spent much of this week working to assemble a political transition council for the Caribbean nation of Haiti after the Haitian president, Ariel Henry, announced Monday that he would step down at the demand of militarized gangs that control much of the country's capital now, Port-au-Prince. The goal of this transitional council would be to administer new elections. After all, Ariel Henry had not himself been elected by the Haitian people. In fact, Haitians haven't voted for anyone since 2016 when Jovenel Moïse won.
So now, why haven't the Haitian people voted for anyone? What's been going on to where they're not able to vote? How many people knew that there hasn't been a voting election or an election at all since 2016? How many people were aware of that?
Henry had been appointed to the position of prime minister in July of 2021 by then President Moïse. Just days later, Moïse would be assassinated in his home by mercenaries. Moïse had also essentially dissolved the country's parliament by refusing to hold elections, allowing every legislator's term to expire. Henry inherited the presidency with little legitimacy and even less support. Haiti often ranks as the poorest nation in the entire Western Hemisphere, with the United Nations estimating that over 40% of its population lives in poverty. The devastating 7.1 magnitude earthquake that hit Haiti in January of 2010 killed more than 200,000 people and displaced millions more. But there's far more to Haiti's suffering and instability than that, and Secretary Blinken knows it. Here's what he said this past Wednesday.
This has been a long unfolding story. The heart of the story is the suffering of the Haitian people.
The heart of the story is the suffering of the Haitian people. Blinken noted that American aid money has poured into Haiti for years, and that most recently the United States sponsored the deployment of 1,000 Kenyan police officers to assist the overrun Haitian police, although that program has been put on pause.
Now, see, they paused that program with the Kenyan police, right? But let me ask you guys this. Why do you all think that the United States tried to get the quote-unquote Kenyan police to intervene over there in Haiti? What's behind that? Would you guys say there's a little bit of agenda behind that? What's the agenda that you all think might be behind that?
But American intervention in Haiti is a big part of the reason we're here today, and America has certainly been a key player in Haiti's long unfolding story. Haiti's independence was established in 1804 off the back of a slave revolt against the French rulers of the island. But in the years that followed, France would force the new nation to hand over most of its revenue as, quote, reparations for the revolution.
So now there's not any white people that complain about, quote unquote, reparations that Haiti paid to France. Don't you think that that's kind of interesting? Don't you guys think that that's interesting? Let's listen to how they phrase that again.
Or off the back of a slave revolt against the French rulers of the island. But in the years that followed, France would force the new nation to hand over most of its revenue as, quote, reparations for the revolution, which hampered Haiti's economic growth. At the outset of...
And now, mind you, one thing that he's not saying that we found out in the other video, if you guys haven't seen that last live stream, you guys should take a look at it, is that Citibank helped to facilitate that. You guys remember that when we talked about that? Citibank was a direct part in extorting Haiti for these fraudulent reparations.
World War I, President Woodrow Wilson ordered the invasion and occupation of Haiti. He cited political instability and potential German influence in the region, but it was really Wall Street that benefited. America took control of Haiti's financial assets, literally removing gold bars from the Haitian National Bank and transporting them to New York and installing a forced labor.
Transporting them to New York and taking them where? Now, you guys, pay very close attention to what the United States has done. And then when you read comment sections that talk about this particular situation, the white people in the comment section will sit there and say, well, you know, anything that black people are involved in is just a mess. And they'll leave out all of this information that he's not even telling accurately.
Influence in the region, but it was really Wall Street that benefited. America took control of Haiti's financial assets, literally removing gold bars from the Haitian National Bank and transporting them to New York and installing a forced labor system on the island. American Marines and Haitian subordinates used a constant state of martial.
So now, again, what is a forced labor system on the island? It's funny how he just mentioned that real quick in passing, and then we'll just go right past it. But we need to address that. They quote unquote installed a forced labor system on the island. What is a quote unquote forced labor system?
President Woodrow Wilson ordered the invasion and occupation of Haiti. He cited political instability and potential German influence in the region, but it was really Wall Street that benefited. America took control of Haiti's financial assets, literally removing gold bars from the Haitian National Bank and transporting them to New York and installing a forced labor system on the island. American Marines and Haitian subordinates used a constant state of martial law, killing and torturing several thousand Haitian civilians between 1915 and 1934. America's eyes shifted toward the specter of global communism later in the 20th century, and the U.S. looked to prop up anti-communist leaders across the world, including in Haiti.
So name all of the internal mechanisms, you guys, that the United States has deranged inside of Haiti. The United States has been meddling in Haitian affairs for a very long time. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Does it sound like anything that the United States did benefited Haiti in any way? If there's any benefit of any of the things that the United States did to help Haiti out, let me know what you think that those benefits are.
Duvalier, known as Papa Doc, was elected president of Haiti in 1957 with U.S. support, but his regime would turn autocratic. He held sham elections. He installed himself president for life and utilized undercover death squads to kill opponents. His son, known as Baby Doc Duvalier, succeeded him, employing many of the same tactics, and the two combined would rule Haiti from 1957 to 1986. All the while, they would continue to receive U.S. aid. But we weren't done in Haiti. In 1994, the U.S. led a military mission named Operation Uphold Democracy to restore the overthrown president Jean-Bertrand Aristide to power. The U.S. was committed to supporting Aristide, at least publicly, although the CIA was deeply skeptical about his policies. A decade later, in 2004, Aristide would be ousted again. But this time, the United States would simply bankroll a UN intervention.
Let me ask you guys this. Does it sound like the United States bears some responsibility in the crisis going on in Haiti right now? If it sounds like the United States bears a responsibility in the humanitarian crisis going on in Haiti right now, give me a thumbs up. If it does not seem like that, then give me a thumbs down.
That mission, known by its French acronym MINUSTA, would remain in Haiti until 2016. But throughout the years, MINUSTA officials would face accusations of sexual exploitation and human rights abuses. 9,000 Haitians died from a cholera outbreak, which was linked to UN peacekeepers from Nepal. American intervention in Haiti has always been in our own interest, which is why, as we get involved in the next chapter of Haiti's long unfolding story, it is crucial that Haitians are the drivers of their own destiny. Lest we forget, as Jonathan Katz wrote in Foreign Policy magazine last year, in all, the U.S. military and its proxies have been in Haiti for at least 41 of the last 108 years, always in the name of securing peace, political stability, and human rights.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. All the video footage that we've seen of Haiti, does it look like the United States did an effective job of securing peace, political stability, and human rights? Does it look like those people are enjoying those things as of right now? It doesn't look like those things are being enjoyed by Haitian people right now. So I'd go out on a limb and say that the United States did not accomplish its mission. But I'd even go out on a further limb and say that was never the mission to begin with. The mission was always to extract resources. The mission was always to keep Haiti in a weakened state. The mission was never to, quote unquote, help.
And never actually succeeding in doing so.
All right, so there's that. All right, let me shut that down. All right, so I think that was, that was a decent little history. So now, knowing all of that, right, and we have to look at that in order to put what's next into context. Much of the instability that's going on in Haiti is directly a result of the United States meddling in their affairs. It's a direct result. That 5-minute video clip more than validated that. So now when it comes to Haitians leaving Haiti, this is what Ron DeSantis is saying.
Now, as the violence continues in Haiti, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has ordered Florida resources
Shout out to
stop
Deformed Pretty
Haitian
Boy. What's
migrants
good with it,
coming
bro?
into the state. This order coming despite no clear sign of increased activity.
At a news conference earlier today, he discussed how the process will work. Take a listen.
This is not a new operation for us. We've been assisting the Coast Guard. Obviously, the Coast Guard is the primary vehicle to protect the shorelines of the United States. We have supplemented that throughout the years. January of 2023, I did an executive order declaring it to be a state of emergency, and we surged vessels to be able to assist the Coast Guard. And so since January of 2023 until this week, March of 2024, our efforts have led to the interdiction of 670 vessels carrying over 13,500 illegal aliens. And so those are people that were stopped from being able to make it to Florida. Those aliens get turned over to the Coast Guard, and then by law, they have to repatriate them to their home country. So we have a lot more ability to stop on the sea. If the Coast Guard decides to dump in our state, it makes it much more difficult for us because our tools aren't as good. So this has been a very successful operation. And so what we decided to do.
So now the interesting thing that you see, and if you pay attention to this and look at situations like this worldwide, what you see worldwide is the entire world attempting to make situations as difficult and dangerous for Black people as possible, and the whole world teaming up together to make situations as legitimate and easy for non-Black people as they possibly can. It's amazing how when you listen to this and when you watch this, you can literally see these people deny reality about America's interventions in Haiti that led to a lot of this nonsense that's going on. This is one of the things that people got to pay attention to. And the reason why people should pay attention to it It's not necessarily to jump out the roof and, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, just start waving Haitian flags around. But if we actually believe what we say we believe, then we understand that the way that the rest of the world treats one population is a proxy for how they're going to treat all of us. Ron DeSantis is showing no different disdain for Haitian migrants coming into the country than he does for Black Americans in Florida. And that's the point. When a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, like when you on YouTube, you know what I'm saying, you got people, if you're talking about a certain issue, they try to make it like you jumping out the window for the people or something like that. That's not the case. The case is that people need to wise up. And when you see somebody treating somebody that looks like you a certain kind of way, just assume that that person probably has the same intentions if they have an encounter with you. So it's real important, because the thing is that Ron DeSantis and the policies that he makes, he has this type of animosity towards Black people. He made those policies to try to stop Haitians from coming into Florida, the same way he made policies that would embolden white racists to delete a bunch of Black people at a Dollar General. And we got mad politicians in the United States that are literally cut from the exact same cloth as Ron DeSantis. Not to mention a lot of these racist migrants coming from countries like where Ron DeSantis and his family immigrated from, with the same type of sentiments that they can all connect together on once they get into the United States. And we have to deal with that as a small portion of the population fighting against the entire rest of the population.
Given the situation that's happening in Haiti, some brutal reports that are happening, we want to make sure that we're protecting Floridians. And so we have authorized additional officers with the relevant agencies, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Florida Fish and Wildlife. We've also augmented the National Guard, another 48 guardsmen, up to 133 soldiers from the Florida State Guard, and 30 additional officers from Florida Highway Patrol, 4 additional helicopters through the National Guard. So this is a significant augmentation. And I think the message is the last thing you should want to do is get on some boat and think you're going to come through from any of these islands to get to the state of Florida. The most likely scenario is you will be stopped and you will be returned to your country of origin. So it's a hazardous journey. It's not worth doing. And we have the resources that are going to continue to keep the people of Florida safe. Just recently, within the last couple of weeks, and this will be made public later today, our Florida Fish and Wildlife officers interdicted a vessel that had 25 illegal immigrants, potential illegal immigrants from Haiti, in their boat, in their vessel. They had firearms, they had drugs, they had night vision gear, and were boating very recklessly, which would potentially endanger other folks. So that vessel was interdicted near the Sebastian Inlet. And those illegal aliens were turned over to the Coast Guard for deportation. So our folks have been doing this before we augmented this, and they're going to continue to do it. And we've got an incredible amount of resources that are now on display to be able to prevent. Now, what's different today than maybe in the past? Well, part of it is we have more resources that the state has been willing to put up. And this is not really our responsibility. This is the federal government's responsibility. Coast Guard does by and large a good job, but they're undermanned. They're under-resourced. So we're filling those gaps. I think one difference now is, and we see this with our folks that we have at the border, you have people coming across the southern border from all over the world. Haitians can get to the United States easier by flying to Mexico and walking across the border. And so I would anticipate if flights resume, that will likely be where a lot of those folks who are trying to flee, if they want to come to the United States, they're probably going to go to Mexico and then come in through the border, knowing that Biden will just let everybody in. Also, I think it's important to point out, we focus on the border. We're obviously doing things to interdict these illegal vessels, which I think is really important.
All right, Governor DeSantis there expanding his remarks to the southern border, but just to follow up on what he was saying about Haitians and repatriating, the last update that the Coast Guard gave, which was on Tuesday, March 12th, said that they repatriated 65 migrants to Haiti. So sending back 65 Haitian migrants back to the country. Of course, you know, got to wait for more of an update as it is Friday, but just a fact check a little bit on the numbers that he was explaining earlier.
All right, so there's that. So now ABC News came out with a 2-minute video that explains the rationale for quote unquote why Haitians can't claim refugee status. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Do you all feel that Haitians should be able to claim refugee status? If you feel that they should be able to claim refugee status, give me a thumbs up. If you guys do not feel that they should be able to claim refugee status, then give me a thumbs down and let me know why you feel that they shouldn't be able to claim refugee status. And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys. We got 45 people watching and we got 47 likes. If everybody could bang on that like button and get us to 70, that'd be great. Yep. Hold on real quick. My bad, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, there we go. Let's get it.
And tonight, our Jada Williams is taking a look at why we're seeing a different response to people trying to escape compared to other countries. She's also speaking with a woman born in Haiti, watching this all happen from here in Tampa Bay.
Inside That's What's Up, Kathleen Genty is bringing a taste of her home country to Tampa.
Poulet sandwich, which is a chicken sandwich.
She takes joy in her sandwich shop. It's a chance to show the positive side of Haiti. To her, it's often overshadowed by the negative.
Just absolutely naturally beautiful, lush greens, just gorgeous. But the rest of the world don't know about that. The rest of the world hasn't accessed that, hasn't seen that, because we're just so focused on highlighting the negative of Haiti.
As violence rises in the country, Governor Ron DeSantis is securing our borders, blocking Haitians from coming into our state. In Polk County Friday, he detailed one capture.
Our Florida Fish and Wildlife officers interdicted a vessel that had 25 illegal immigrants, potential illegal immigrants from Haiti, in their boat, in their vessel. They had firearms, they had drugs, they had night vision gear.
Genty feels that's unfair.
All we want, just like anybody else, is to be able to live a life that is worthy of living. Now, yes, are there those who are doing what they're not supposed to do? Absolutely, but that exists in all societies. So should an entire nation of people be punished for the acts of few? Absolutely not.
I wanted to know what separates a migrant from a refugee. Florida Gulf Coast professor Tom Felke says it's all about the government designation.
All right, so pay very close attention to this, because this is what the most important part is. They said that it's according to quote unquote government designation. Let's listen.
The issues that we have here is a definitional issue. It's how we define individuals that are going through some type of transit pathway.
To be a refugee, you have to hit 3 criteria: fleeing your home country due to persecution or fear, a recognized crisis, and an unwillingness to want to return home, right?
So now let me ask you guys this question. My question is, based on these 3 criteria, which ones does Haiti not fit into? Which of those 3 criteria does the Haitian crisis not fall into? Shout out to Ricky. Ricky says number 3, unwillingness to return home or to repatriate. I think, me personally, I think that they're going to try to say that it's number 2. I think that they're going to say it's number 2. And the reason why I think that they're going to say it's number 2 is because not most, believe it or not, most other countries do not look at what's going on in Haiti as a crisis, which is just wild to me that they allegedly don't see it as a crisis, but they don't. You know what I'm saying?
Home. Right now, no country has determined there's a refugee crisis in Haiti.
There you go. There you go. They said that no country has determined that there's a refugee crisis in Haiti. Here's my question. What do you call this then? To everybody watching this, if this isn't a crisis, what do you call this? What is this? And see, the reason why this is important is because it's important to pay very close attention to how they will attempt to try to change definitions, or they'll try to manipulate definitions. Exactly. And that's my point, Patrick. Facts. Patrick asked the question, what's the crisis in Mexico? Venezuela. What's the crisis in China? China got the world's biggest economy. What's the crisis there? Right. Shout out to Deformed Pretty Boy. But Venezuela crisis, though. Mexico, Central America. Right. So what we see is just the active making things up, changing of standards. You know what I'm saying?
A refugee, you have to hit 3 criteria: fleeing your home country due to persecution or fear, a recognized crisis, and an unwillingness to want to return home. Right now, no country has determined there's a refugee crisis in Haiti.
And therefore, we have this difference in perspective.
I find it just absolutely mind-blowing and bizarre that no country has, quote unquote, determined that there's a refugee crisis in Haiti. My question is, if what was going on in Haiti was going on in any other country, would it be considered a crisis? Let me know what you guys think.
There has to be a mass migration in order to jumpstart a refugee designation. But the presence at the border means no Haitians making it over to attempt to declare refugee status. USF anthropology professor Kieran J. Aram adds there is another avenue for Haitians.
There is an element to which certain policies
We're excited
have facilitated, like I said, Haitians, Nicaraguans, Venezuelans, Cubans to come through a different pathway, humanitarian parole, not refugee, not asylum.
In Tampa, Jada Williams, ABC Action News.
And tonight.
So I just found that extremely bizarre. Shout out to Win Loser Rug. What's good with it, bro? I found that extremely bizarre because my question is, if what's going on in Haiti doesn't constitute as a humanitarian crisis, then what does constitute as a humanitarian crisis? What does constitute as a humanitarian crisis? Now, I don't know if you guys checked out the live stream on the Undocumented channel yesterday or not, but this is that press conference that I was telling you about that I wanted to go over and check out. And this is Ron DeSantis and Sheriff Grady Judd talking about illegal immigration in this press conference. Okay. So let's take a look at this and see exactly what they're talking about. If it decides to play, hold on real quick. Let's see. Yeah, we on some BS. Hold on real quick, y'all. All right. Let's see. All right, here we go. My bad, y'all. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, subscribe to the channel. And if you have not shared the stream to your social media, please take a moment and do that as well.
Excited to be back in Polk County. I want to thank Sheriff Grady Judd for hosting us here. Grady, it's funny, people in Florida, like, they're proud of their sheriffs in many counties, but particularly here in Polk, and they have debates about, who's the best sheriff in Florida. And I would say by extension, that means the best sheriff in America, right? And someone told me, like, it's not normal that people are so proud of their sheriffs that they're always debating that. And that's what we see here in Florida. In fact, there's people in other states that debate who the best sheriff in Florida is. But Grady has really set the standard, and I'm proud to call him a friend. We're also here with Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez, our Attorney General.
I've never heard anybody debate about who the best sheriff is in Florida. But one thing that I have heard people debate about is who's the craziest whack job that has come out of Florida. You guys ever heard those Florida man debates about the crazy people? That's about the only debate that I've ever heard. I've never really heard anybody really giving a shit about law enforcement.
General Ashley Moody, Representative Kyan Michael from Northeast Florida, and then Nikki Jones, who's an Angel wife. We also have Representative Benny Jocks. I saw. Where's Benny at? Thank you for what you're doing. We also have Representative Plankin and Representative Bell. So we appreciate you all and all your great support. So we're here today, one, to build off a record of success with respect to combating illegal immigration. And if you think about it, you go back 6 or 7 years in the state of Florida, we were not leading against illegal immigration at all. In fact, we were one of the weaker states with respect to illegal immigration. Since we've come in, we've done things like ban sanctuary cities throughout the state of Florida. Those were legal in this state prior to me taking office. We've also worked.
So see, that's one of the reasons why it's so important to pay attention to your state and local representatives. I didn't know that Florida had sanctuary cities. and that Florida was a sanctuary state, but they got rid of it. That's what people really should be. If people really believe what they say, and people actually feel as strongly about these issues as they do, people need to be developing a political action plan to, on the state and local level, get rid of sanctuary city designations and get rid of the politicians who support those. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
To enact harsh penalties for people that are bringing fentanyl into our community. 99% of the time, it's coming across the border. We make sure in Florida not to do things like sanctuary jurisdictions do, such as issuing driver's licenses to illegal aliens. That is not allowed in the state of Florida. We also make sure that you're eligible to work to be here with using things like E-Verify. That's a magnet that brings in a lot of illegal immigration if you allow an illegal workforce. So the legislature passed last year, and I signed E-Verify legislation. We also understood that, yes, Florida does not allow driver's license, but you had some local jurisdictions that were trying to issue, quote, picture IDs or community IDs to people here illegally. NGOs, non-government organizations were trying to do that. So we passed legislation.
Now, mind you, those NGOs, he's talking about the NGOs. It's the NGOs that are working with Tyson to help provide those immigration attorneys to the Tyson Corporation, as well as provide the funding for the daycare that they want to provide to those 42,000 migrants that they want to hire. Meanwhile, while they're shutting down places in the United States that employ American citizens. Shout out to Jesse. What's good with it, bro?
Legislation that I signed that said, no, you're not allowed to issue any type of ID to illegal aliens, including our local governments and our non-governmental organizations. And so the package that we did last year with the help of Cayenne and Blaise Ngolia and many other people in the House and Senate, even the New York Times admitted was the strongest immigration legislation in the entire country. So we're proud of that. We're proud that we have really stepped up to empower people like Grady Judd to keep his community safe here in Polk County. You know, if you look at statistics, I think Polk County has the biggest numerical increase in population of any county in Florida. Certainly one of them. I mean, like I grew up, it's west of here, but like anyone that grew up in Central Florida, Polk was viewed as very rural even 30 years ago. Now it's just booming. But part of the reason that's the case is because people know if you move to Florida, you're going to be treated well. But if you move to Polk, they're serious about law and order and people want to be safe. And so that's really something that's been great. So we're proud of that. But we don't like to just sit and rest on our laurels. So I'm here today to be able to sign 3 great pieces of legislation, make some comments on another Senate memorial that was passed, and then give an update on what we're doing to prevent illegal vessels from coming and landing to Florida from places like Haiti. First, HB 1589. What you see is, yes, we don't give driver's license to illegal aliens, which you shouldn't. We don't recognize driver's license from other states that have been issued to illegal aliens. So that's smart. But you still have people that come and drive without a license. One of the biggest deterrents we can do for illegal immigrants.
Now, you got to ask yourself this question. Why are these sanctuary cities and these sanctuary states issuing driver's licenses to undocumented illegal migrants? How are they even able to issue those without the information to put in? You know, to get a driver's license, you got to have a social security number. You got to be able to verify that, birth certificate and all that stuff. They don't even have the information to put in other than just testimony that these illegal migrants might say. So why is that even allowed? The fact that that's even in existence is just bizarre and beyond belief, and it's just outside of the realms of common sense.
Is to make sure people that are doing that are facing serious consequences. And so that's what that bill does. It increases the maximum sentence for people who are driving illegally without a license, and even provides mandatory sentences.
So now, anytime we talk about these situations of illegal driving and driving illegally, I always ask this question. If a illegal migrant is driving illegally, first question, how do they get insured? How are illegal migrants getting an uninsured motorist policy at the minimum to be able to drive? Which tells me that in most cases, they're probably driving uninsured, which driving uninsured is illegal. If you get hit by an uninsured illegal migrant, who pays the damages? And my question is, how have we not heard about these type of situations going on in the courtroom? If an illegal undocumented migrant who does not have identification but somehow was able to get an ID card, somehow got car insurance, causes an accident with a domestic driver, how does the uninsured motorist get paid for that liability? That, to me, that's wild. That is a huge risk. It's a huge risk for civilians who are citizens who have all of the legal documentation and insurance to be able to drive, and it's also a huge financial liability for insurance companies. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
For repeat offenders. This is going to be a deterrent for illegal immigration into the state of Florida. You come here, you're not getting a license. We're not recognizing your California license that you may have gotten in a sanctuary state. You're going to come here, and then if you're driving and you're endangering people, in Cayenne, we'll talk about that, and other people, and this is not academic. I mean, this is something that has shattered the lives of families with these folks doing what they're doing. So this is important. So I'm happy to be able to sign that. The other thing, the second bill is Senate Bill 1036, enhances penalties for a crime committed by an individual who returns to the country illegally after deportation. What you find in some of these really significant incidents where people are getting raped or murdered is it's not only an illegal alien, but it's somebody that had already been deported from this country and then comes back to commit crimes again. So in the state of Florida, if you have been deported and you come to this state and enter our state and you're here illegally and you commit crimes, we are throwing the book at you, and you are going to regret coming to the state of Florida. So I'm happy to sign that into law. And then the other one is House Bill 1451. So I mentioned we don't allow local governments or non-government organizations to issue any type of identification to people that are in our country illegally. But we also want to make sure that they can't get a group in California to just issue them, and then our local governments are honoring that. So what this legislation does is it says no jurisdiction, state or local, can recognize those types of rogue identifications that are issued to illegal aliens. And so all in all, those are three very positive pieces of legislation. I'm going to sign those into law in a second after we hear from some of our speakers. I also just want to applaud the legislature for Senate Memorial 1020. So these memorials are calling on Congress to do certain things, are calling on the federal government. So they have called on the federal government to designate the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And I think that that would go a long way. It's something that I've supported for a long time. And they are foreign terrorist organizations because they are importing product into this country that is killing our people by the tens of thousands each and every year. Finally, give an update on, I recently made an announcement augmenting our resources in Southern Florida with respect to warding off a potential influx of vessels carrying illegal immigrants from places like Haiti. This is not a new operation for us. We've been assisting the Coast Guard. Obviously, the Coast Guard is the primary vehicle to protect the shorelines of the United States. We have supplemented that throughout the years. January of 2023, I did an executive order declaring it to be a state of emergency, and we surged vessels to be able to assist the Coast Guard. And so since January of 2023 until this week, March of 2024, our efforts have led to the interdiction of 670 vessels carrying over 13,500 illegal aliens. And so those are people that were stopped from being able to make it to Florida. Those aliens get turned over to the Coast Guard, and then by law, they have to repatriate them to their home country. So we have a lot more ability to stop on the sea. If the Coast Guard decides to dump in our state, it makes it much more difficult for us because our tools aren't as good. So this has been a very successful operation. And so what we decided to do, given the situation that's happening in Haiti, some brutal reports that are happening, we want to make sure that we're protecting Floridians. And so we have authorized additional officers with the relevant agencies, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Florida Fish and Wildlife. We've also augmented the National Guard, another 48 guardsmen. up to 133 soldiers from the Florida State Guard and 30 additional officers from Florida Highway Patrol, 4 additional helicopters through the National Guard. So this is a significant augmentation. And I think the message is the last thing you should want to do is get on some boat and think you're going to come through from any of these islands to get to the state of Florida. The most likely scenario is you will be stopped and you will be returned to your country of origin. So it's a hazardous journey. It's not worth doing. And we have the resources that are going to continue to keep the people of Florida safe. Just recently, within the last couple of weeks, and this will be made public later today, our Florida Fish and Wildlife officers interdicted a vessel that had 25 illegal immigrants, potential illegal immigrants from Haiti in their boat, in their vessel. They had firearms, they had drugs, they had night vision gear, and were boating very recklessly, which would potentially endanger other folks. So that vessel was interdicted near the Sebastian Inlet. And those illegal aliens were turned over to the Coast Guard for deportation. So our folks have been doing this before we augmented this, and they're going to continue to do it. And we've got an incredible amount of resources that are now on display to be able to prevent. Now, what's different today than maybe in the past? Well, part of it is we have more resources that the state has been willing to put up. And this is not really our responsibility. This is the federal government's responsibility. Coast Guard.
So you guys see all of the resources and all of the efforts that they're willing to put in for this, right? But then when it comes to other things, they're just a little bit short. They just don't have the money. They just don't have the funding. They just don't have the finance. We have to start a new taxes. You know what I'm talking about?
Does by and large a good job, but they're undermanned. They're under-resourced. So we're filling those gaps. I think one difference now is, and we see this with our folks that we have at the border, you have people coming across the southern border from all over the world. Haitians can get to the United States easier by flying to Mexico and walking across the border. And so I would anticipate if flights resume, that will likely be where a lot of those folks who are trying to flee, if they want to come to the United States, they're probably going to go to Mexico and then come in through the border, knowing that Biden will just let everybody in. Also think it's important.
See, and like shout out to Deformed Pretty Boy. Deformed Pretty Boy says it's sad because I've seen a drunk driving illegal get let go after an accident, which is wild. So then what ended up probably having to happen was the person that illegal migrant or illegal alien hit, either themselves or their insurance had to pay for the accident, when it should have been probably the illegal migrant paying for the accident. And I gotta agree with Ricky. Ricky said this country's gone crazy. This country been crazy, bro. If you guys agree with Ricky, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
To point out, we focus on the border. We're obviously doing things to interdict these illegal vessels, which I think is really important. But Biden is also flouting the law by creating an illegal parole program. Where
that's crazy. The cop didn't even impound the car. That's crazy that the cop didn't even impound the car. You got to ask the question, with all of these, check this is going to be interesting, right? What happens like when these migrants start having kids and their kids are American citizens and they start to see their children get treated worse than other migrants? What's going to happen then? Because that's probably going to happen eventually at some point. Because when they they had a birthright citizenship. So when these migrants start procreating and having kids, their kids are going to be American citizens, and they're going to be subject to the same scrutiny as other American citizens and blocked out and locked out of the benefits that migrants are getting. So how do you think those migrant parents are going to feel when they see their kids not getting the same treatment as they got? I'd like to be a fly on the wall to watch what goes on right then. You know what I'm saying?
Foreign countries against the law and puts them into our community. So, for example, you just had an instance where one of the people Biden flew in from Haiti is now charged with sexually assaulting a 15-year-old with disabilities in Massachusetts. And you think to yourself, how is that protecting?
Did you hear about a Haitian migrant in Massachusetts assaulting a 15-year-old with disabilities? I didn't hear about that story. If you guys heard about that, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't hear about that, give me a thumbs down. I'm gonna have to look for that story, but I didn't hear about that.
Our people, you're putting our own people at risk through violating the law, a policy that's not authorized under the law. It's a violation of parole, how that's used, and he's doing that. and it's causing a lot of problems. So yes, the border has been a huge issue. There's a lot of different ways in which this administration is flouting the law. So in Florida, we're going to continue to do everything we can to protect folks and to make sure that this state continues to be a great state to live in. We can look, it's important to get the policy right. And we've got our policy so much better today than it was 6 or 7 years ago in the state of Florida with respect to illegal immigration. But you also need to have people that are going to be implementing that policy on the ground. And you have that here in Polk County under Sheriff Grady Judd. You have it across Florida with so many great sheriff's departments, police departments, and then, of course, our state agencies, all these people that have been out there fortifying our coastline, Fish and Wildlife, our National Guard, our State Guard, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Florida Highway Patrol. These are folks that have been doing a lot. These are the same people that respond to Hurricane Idalia and the year before Hurricane Ian. A lot of the same agencies are down at the southern border helping Texas. And of course, they have a lot of work they do on a daily basis. And so we really appreciate what people are doing who are wearing the uniform to help to keep our community safe. So I think these bills will go a long way to helping make their job easier and make them even more effective. And I look forward to signing them into law momentarily. But before I do that, we're going to hear from some of our speakers. So first, we're going to hear from our Lieutenant Governor, Jeanette Nunez.
Well, good morning, and it's great to be here in Polk County, and I want to thank Governor DeSantis for signing these bills into law in just a few minutes, but more importantly for his leadership on this issue of illegal immigration in particular. He's been a steadfast champion, and Floridians...
Shout out to my man D-Buck over on Twitch. D-Buck said, when was Florida ever a great state to live in? Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, most times when you hear about Florida, you always hear about Florida man or like some whack job in Florida. You know what I'm saying? And I got to agree with Patrick. Ron DeSantis is hot garbage. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. This lady's eyes are pretty big. She just took a bump off of some meth or something right here in this picture. This freeze frame, man. The freeze frames be getting them.
...are better off because of him. And of course, I won't wait. Yes. And of course, I won't wade into the debate of who is our best sheriff in the state of Florida. I will let the public decide that. But I do want to thank Sheriff Grady Judd for all the work he and his deputies do each and every day, particularly on the issue of combating human trafficking. I know you've done so much on that issue, and it's important to the governor and myself, and so we thank you. And what you know is that the governor has been incredibly supportive of our men and women in law enforcement. And one of the areas that I want to thank him as well publicly is creating a criminal interdiction unit and tasking them with Operation Safe Highways. I had the opportunity to ride along with them and see the work that they're doing when they are traversing our state interstates, our highways, our roadways to keep people safe, in particular on this issue of illegal aliens that are perhaps using our roadways to conduct illegal and illicit activities. And so I think we all agree that what is happening in this country is just incomprehensible. I don't know at what point it became acceptable to basically snub the rule of law and be derelict in your duties to protect Americans, in this case here in the state of Florida. And so what I'll tell you is that Governor DeSantis does not stand by. He does not cross his arms and put his hands up in the air. He takes action. And by doing that, he's protecting Floridians. He's protecting our country. And so he leads not only by word, but by deed. And the legislation he's signing today is just another example of how he's continuing to focus on this issue. And as he mentioned, he's done so much already. And one of the areas that I want to applaud him is impaneling a statewide grand jury that's been investigating criminal networks and making sure that we're addressing this issue from the perspective of a criminal grand jury and the work that they're doing. What I'll say is we've received 6%.
So now you guys know that on this channel, we focused on migrant criminal networks, right? And what's interesting about it is that there's been certain migrant criminal networks that have been left out of the mainstream media. There's a large amount of Eastern European migrants in a criminal network that have been coming in through the northern border, and they're not really talking about that very loudly. But I find it interesting that the Florida politicians and Ron DeSantis, they're trying to tie in the migrant criminal networks to these Haitians who haven't even gotten to the United States yet. It's interesting. Pay very close attention to that, which is one of the reasons why it's important to break this stuff down and pay very close attention to it and keep track of it, so we always have a reference point to where we can go back to and point out these inconsistencies, because there's hella inconsistencies with all of this nonsense. Because when it comes to this, everybody has an agenda. The Republicans have their own illegal immigration agenda, and the Democrats have their own illegal immigration agenda. And they try to sound like they're fighting about it, but they're not. What they're fighting about is to see who can benefit the most from it and who can villainize the other side the most for it. That's what we got going on
thus far. And these interim reports shed more and more light on the utter failures of the Biden administration to protect the border and to keep people safe. And what we've learned really is sobering, and it is the cause of much outrage, especially for those of us that care about law and order. And in the words of the grand jury themselves, Floridians are almost dangerously naive and unaware of the magnitude and the malevolence of the illegal immigration industry. And they aptly point out, as the governor talked about cartels, how cartels are exploiting our border. They're using people and children as commodities. They're bringing into this country dangerous criminals, dangerous weapons, and dangerous drugs. So much so, they've seized enough fentanyl to kill upwards of 1 billion people. They also have NGOs that are receiving taxpayer dollars that are facilitating and assisting with illegal immigration, turning a blind eye to the dangerous track and to all the dangers that come into this country. They've also have the federal government bureaucracy is complicit, and they are rushing to release children to unvetted and unrelated sponsors. And since Biden came into office, we've seen over 10 million people cross our border, more population than 40 states in this country. So all of these statistics are alarming, they're shocking, they're sobering, and it really is shameful to see that illegal immigration, the industrial complex, because it is an industrial complex, it is alive and well, and it's a booming business. In Miami-Dade County, what we've seen is the immigration courts are facing the largest backlog of any court in this country, with 10% of the overall immigration cases. Further proof that Florida is indeed disproportionately affected by illegal immigration. And what's worse is that the overwhelming majority of those cases that are being addressed by the court, more than 90% of them lose their asylum claim. So again, the Biden administration is single-handedly responsible for this crisis, and we need to put an end to it. So that's why I'm so proud to stand alongside a governor that stops at nothing to protect Floridians. He's taken action, so much so that what you've seen is Florida is leading the way. Florida is a trailblazer on so many issues, but this issue in particular, and the support that we've offered those border states, but obviously with a focus on Floridians. So I want to thank the governor for prioritizing law and order every step of the way, and for his leadership in keeping Floridians safe. Thank you all very much.
Attorney General.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today to celebrate this milestone in Florida. Certainly, this is a significant achievement by our legislature. Thank you for everyone here today who is shining a light on the challenges we face in this country. As you heard from the Lieutenant Governor, who's been a great Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much, and for highlighting the work of our statewide prosecutors and the Florida grand jury, who upon the direction and insistence of Governor DeSantis launched an investigation as to what was happening with transnational criminal organizations and how it was affecting Florida, those children that were being smuggled across the border, what we were seeing in terms of illegal immigration and the disastrous consequences of this president. And what we found is that, you heard the numbers, 10 million people, 7 million of which we know came across the border because they were said welcome, processed right in, and then millions more that we never had contact with, smashing historical records. And what we know is that criminals have come into the country as a result of that breakdown in border security, which has been intentional, and it has been since day one, since President Biden has been in office. This governor recognized that this was going to be a real problem for the security and safety of our communities. We immediately started litigating against this administration, especially in the first month when our sheriffs told us that this administration had backtracked on all former policies and said, we're not going to deport those here illegally, committing serious crimes, committing felonies. I know everybody used to do that, but not under the Biden administration. That left our sheriffs and our police chiefs and our state officers on the front lines, combating people here, committing crimes that should never have been here. The breakdown of the border, throwing open the gates, has allowed those criminals to infiltrate our country. Do not take my word for it as Attorney General. Take the grand jury's word for it. Take Director Wray's testimony this week, in which he said, we know, there is no doubt, criminals have come into our country, are coming into our country.
Nah, I only got it on, it's only on 1.25. She just talked that fast. Let me see, hold on, I'm gonna put it on normal real quick.
Criminals related to transnational criminal organizations. In fact, even those organizations that have ties to ISIS. That was this week. This week, we also heard from a sheriff in South Florida who said we had a girl raped by 3 people here illegally. 1 came over at the beginning of this month, right across our border. And that is because the wide open border. Now, you heard the governor say it's not just the wide open border that's putting our community members at risk. It's also the programs that Biden has created. Never been done before, but now if you're in another country, he will bring you straight here. They've brought hundreds of thousands of people directly into our country and paroled them into the U.S.
Now, what she's talking about right here is that you guys might have seen some reports about quote unquote secret flights where the Biden administration flew in, like I want to say like 200,000-300,000 immigrants or something like that through that program. That's what she's talking about right now.
And as Governor DeSantis just said, we're already learning about those who are committing crimes. There is no doubt our country is left safe. Not a day goes by that you don't see someone that has been harmed by someone here illegally that should not be here, was not vetted when they came across, or they just escaped all detection, because this is a historical surge. In fact, there are even mass release quotas by this administration. How would our personnel ever be able to keep up with that? And these programs that have been created, which are totally unlawful, we have fought every step of the way. We have been in court litigating to push back on these illegal programs. With the support of Governor DeSantis, he's been fighting ever since, not just about not deporting those here illegally committing crimes, but to stop these unlawful programs. We can't even deal with the ones coming across the border. Why are we bringing more?
And now, as far as quote unquote unlawful programs go, if you ask me, this whole thing about giving illegal and undocumented migrants driver's licenses and all this stuff, that, if you ask me, is a unlawful program. I'm not trying to be funny, but like, honestly, like that's, if you ask me, that's damn near identity fraud, because how do you identify somebody that doesn't have documentation to prove their identity? How does that work? That's like a double negative. Make that make sense.
Unvetted into the U.S. It is untenable. This governor has done more than any other governor in this country to lead efforts like the bills that we assigned today. I would like to thank Bernie Jock, Kyan Michael, Melanie Bell, Rachel Plakin. The legislative leadership for these bills has just been remarkable. They fought for these. They were on the floor for hours fighting for these bills, and particularly the one that's going to enhance the penalties from those that re-enter after being deported that are committing crimes against our citizens. They will also enhance penalties for those committing crimes here that are tied to transnational organizations. Our prosecutors worked with the statewide grand jury, and that was a direct recommendation from the statewide grand jury to our legislative leaders to say, please strengthen our laws to make it harder for those here are coming with a criminal intent to do harm for Floridians. This will make an enormous difference. And what I want everyone here to know is that state leaders shouldn't have to be passing laws or fighting in court against our president to keep our communities safe. This is remarkable. This has never happened. We have a president who does not care what is happening or the affect on Americans or Floridians in terms of their family and community safety. And it's not just that he doesn't care. He is actively fighting states that are trying to do their work for them. He has battled Texas to take down the barriers they have put up. He has battled Florida when we've asked them, don't release criminals back into our communities. He has battled Florida when we said, please stop the mass releases so that we can make sure that our country is safe. Today, he is battling us in court. We just battled him this week and got a negative adverse decision, and we're going to have to appeal our president who fights us as this news comes across the wire. And so not as Attorney General, not as someone who has worked with this great governor or our sheriffs across the state that has seen the devastation to families and communities as a result of these policy decisions, as a mother, as a wife of a law enforcement officer, I plead directly to our president. And
man,
I don't
it's
mean
funny that you said that, DeAndre. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing, bro. I was like, yo, she was in the bathroom like every morning, while she getting ready, practicing this speech, and she had the note cards and everything. she was practicing this. You know what I'm saying?
Doing. This is not a partisan issue. These are people that are coming together in communities that have lost loved ones, that are feeling the dangerous effects directly a result of your decisions as to the security of this country. Pay attention, reverse course, secure this border, listen to the director of the FBI, listen to the families that have lost loved ones, listen to the Floridians who want safe communities and have to rely on a state government to defend borders when that is the responsibility of the President of the United States. Put down the ice cream cone, pay attention, and let's save lives. Thank you, Governor DeSantis.
I got Grady always has some visual aids, so I'm just.
Hey, how many of those little cups of Stoke do you think she put in her coffee before she did this speech? Y'all ever seen those little caffeine shots that come in a little black container that look like creamer? How many of those do y'all think she put in her coffee before she drank it and went up there?
Getting a little bit of a sneak preview of being able to see what he's got cooking. So.
Thank you, Governor. You know, the governor would be disappointed in me if I didn't have these cards. And you never want your governor disappointed in you. It is truly my honor for you to be here today, Governor. And when you look at these men and women who stand with us, they are on the front lines. They're the ones keeping the people of Polk County, and there's ones just like them across the state and nation trying their dead level best to keep people safe. But we have to follow the law. And we wouldn't have the laws to do what we do without great governors. And you are the man.
I do get my coffee from AM PM. I used to use that Stoke back in the college days, bro.
Who's made such a positive difference. And you sent the message loud and clear. We're going to keep Polk County safe. We're going to keep Florida safe. We want the world to be safe, and especially the United States. But listen, I'm going to bring this down. You've heard the governor and our attorney general, who I think the absolute world of, who, go ahead and leave that down there. That's right. That thing driving me crazy. And beside that, I got my star up here now, okay? So it's important. I'm going to get this right down to the lowest common denominator. You heard the governor eloquently say what he's doing to protect Florida, and he's doing all that he can to protect us. But look, for those of you in Congress and the executive branch, this is a secure border. This is an unsecure border. Everybody knows the difference, except for the executives and the Congress, who are absolutely, totally tone deaf. Now, for those of you who are slow learners, this is a secure border. This is another picture of an insecure, unsecure border, both. Folks, they're coming here not just to find a better way of life like many of our forefathers did, but they're coming here to kill our people while they make enormous profits. And one example is fentanyl. Look at this. 377,000 people have died in this country since 2018 from fentanyl overdose deaths alone. And where did they come from? The fentanyl's coming from Mexico. We worked a large operation here. We found that the fentanyl had gone to
Grady Judd's forefathers came here and did the exact same thing that the migrants are coming here doing. It's literally the exact same situation. There's no difference. The same way there's naive Americans taking these people in, there was naive indigenous people that helped these people survive. They would have starved, but instead they wanted to teach them how to plant corn and all this nonsense. And if you ask me, That's one of the reasons why these people are so paranoid. There's no difference. Many of these people that came 1700s were evading taxes. They were from penal colonies in European countries. They were not the bright shining stars of society. And they came here and were not the bright shining stars either. People that took them in and helped them survive, they deleted them from having poor hygiene and spreading diseases, and then just all out slaughtered them and came up with an entire genre of TV shows called Westerns, where the bad guys in cowboy hats are going around shooting the good guys with bow and arrows. Like, let's not get it twisted. That's what your forefathers did. You know what I'm saying? What was that? What was a Pocahontas story? The dude named the Chad in the Pocahontas story, John Smith. And Pocahontas was supposed to be like 14 years old. They came here messing with young chicks, just like how these immigrants come in here messing with young chicks. They sexually battered Black women on slave breeding farms the same way these people sexually battering people. Make it make sense. Revisionist history. And that's one of the reasons why little Ron DeSantis doesn't really like people talking about history. DeSantis, if I'm not mistaken, is an Italian name. Now, that's an OG migrant criminal network. Matter of fact, it's such an OG migrant criminal network that in order to be a made man qualified in the mafia, you had to be able to trace your roots back to Sicily. Not to New York. Not to LA. Not to Miami. Why do people let these people get away with this nonsense of telling these grandiose lies? His forefathers was just another wave of the same migrant stuff that we see right now. No, nothing different, nothing special. And they came and completely changed the demographics and structure of the country the same way these migrants are completely changing and destroying the demographics of the country. They came here and destroyed the country. They deleted so many people in the Western Hemisphere that it cooled the Earth's climate. And that's a fact. If you want to read about that fact, you can check it out in this essay right here.
Compton was in a house in Compton. It came directly from Mexico to Compton. We bought 2 kilos of fentanyl undercover. We flew out there. Law enforcement there wouldn't help us enter the house. They don't knock on doors. The criminals are winning in California. The criminals are winning in New York.
The criminals are the police department in California. Grady, bro, let me holler at you real quick. In California, the criminals wear the same uniform as you have. California just got rid of some racist Latino named Alex Villanueva, who was a police gang member. In California, the criminals wear the same uniform as you do, just like they do nationwide.
DeSantis says the criminals are not going to win in Florida, and we're going to make sure we carry out those directions. Last week, you saw this card. We arrested 228 people in a human trafficking operation, and we rescued folks. Then there was this 21 people that were here illegally that we arrested out of the 228. Listen to me, 9% of all of the arrests in this one operation by these law enforcement agencies in one county, 9% were here illegally. And guess what? We also had victims from other countries. That's right. We had victims that came here. You know how these folks got here? The feds flew them for free.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell, take a moment, hit the bell, and subscribe to the channel. Also, please share the stream to your social media. We got 54 people watching, and we got 54 likes. If we could get the likes to 80, that would be wonderful.
So we had victims that were victims of human trafficking that were here from Venezuela. The federal government flew them to New York, gave them some type of certificate. We asked them, what happens? Well, this guy comes with us to make sure we show up and do what we're supposed to.
Bro, what's the other police all the police man, there's so many police departments. Man, what's the name? What was that police department where the police officer shot that black man in front of the club and when he was breaking up a fight? Where was that? Damn, I can't think of the name of the city. But there's damn near every police department in California is corrupt as hell and racist. And what's crazy about it is them police officers in California, most of them are Latino. San Jose, that's where it was. Yeah, it was in San Jose. Then they got all the text message scandals. Then they got the female cops getting busted down by everybody. You know what I'm saying? Female cops getting split. You know what I'm saying? The chief is a gangbanger. You got the gangs called the executioners. That's part of the police department going around taking people out, taking civilians out. You got the banditos. Then you got Sheriff Villanueva when he was in there sitting there acting like he didn't know what none of that stuff was about. Shout out to Didi with Destin. What's good with it, Didi? Who is Corey Alvarez? Didi says we don't have Haitian name Corey Alvarez. That's a Latin name. People keep saying the Haitian. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know who Corey Alvarez is though. Who is he and who said that he was Haitian? Is that the guy in Massachusetts that committed the crime? Is that who you're talking about?
And then he takes us to the next and the next, and we go, well,
yeah, shout out to WLAC. Yeah, bro, I'm so glad, man. Listen, I did so many videos about Oh, okay, that's old boy in Boston. Oh, okay, all right. I did so many videos about Villanueva, and I don't even know I don't know how he was not really on the radar like that. And the thing that was crazy about Villanueva is not only was he blatantly corrupt, this dude was so blatantly racist and anti-black, he would literally make blatant anti-black statements to the press, and nobody would say nothing about it. Like, this dude would attack black history. I mean, he said some crazy stuff like black people are overrated. Like, who's out here rating people? This dude, Villanueva, was wildly out of pocket. Wildly out of pocket.
They told us this. Well, we fly for free. They fly for free, but you and I are paying for it. It's very frightening to me, folks. And then here's what some of the mainstream media.
He was a sheriff, Patrick, but the chief You got a black chief of police, if I'm not mistaken, in San Jose that literally turned his head and let all of his white police officers do all of that racist text messaging. Then you got that Asian officer, Stephen Q, I believe his name is, in Detroit, that had 82 civilian complaints against him. 82 civilian complaints. If you're on YouTube and you ever get spare time, Google Officer Stephen Q, Detroit, Michigan. Then the most disappointing thing about it is that the all-black Detroit Chamber of Commerce voted for this dude not only to stay on the police department, but to get a raise. Make it make sense. Somebody make this stuff make sense.
Some of the politicians, some of the elites are telling us every day, and they're saying this often enough, hoping we'll believe it. What they're saying is they tell us there isn't a border crisis. Have y'all heard that? There isn't a border crisis. I say BS. So
yeah,
I've got
San Francisco did too. Facts. San Francisco had text messaging incidents. San Jose had the text messaging incidents. Now check this out. San Jose had a separate text messaging incident, right? They had a separate text messaging incident. That situation where that police officer shot that black dude in front of the club who was defending himself. The police officer then text messaged all of his friends making anti-black statements about that individual that he shot. Look that up. What's the name of that? It's a media publication called, what's that called? I think it's called the Mercury Times. They did an expose on it.
a BS flag. So I throw the BS flag on that. Then they tell us the border is secure. BS.
Then I forgot all about
secure.
this. Then in addition, right, in California, then you got the whole situation with Nuri Martinez. How many people remember Nuri Martinez? If y'all remember Nuri Martinez, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't remember Nuri Martinez, give me a thumbs down. Nuri Martinez getting caught on that hot mic.
Then they tell us, oh, the illegal immigrants that are here aren't committing crime at any greater rate than American citizens that commit crime. Well, listen, if they weren't here, they couldn't commit any crime, right? They're committing hundreds of thousands of crimes, and that's just the ones we're arresting them for. So I throw the BS flag.
It's wild. It's wild that they're even still allowed to have jobs. But see, they have gone over there and they've completely taken over politics. So they'll be able to get away with that kind of stuff. Because none of that kind of stuff is offensive to them Latino people. They all believe it and agree with it. And you know white people all believe it and agree with it. So do Asians. So then if we point that out and say that there's an issue with it, all they're going to say is that we're trying to cancel people and that they have the freedom of speech. But then if somebody like Kyrie Irving simply tweets something, then all hell broke loose and black people are responsible for everything that went on in World War II. This is one of the reasons why, man, people got to start playing hardball with these people, man. People got to start playing hardball. You know what I'm saying? If you guys agree, people got to start playing hardball. Give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Flag on that. Listen, folks, the bottom line to all this is we have a governor, we have a wonderful legislature that's given us all the tools we can to protect the people of the state of Florida. But the people of the United States deserve the same protection and they deserve the same support. So, Governor, you have to deal with a whole lot of BS. So I've got you your very own personally autographed BS flag, okay? So
now I think this would go for a lot on eBay. With Grady's signature on it.
So as I wrap up, folks, we're so fortunate to live in Florida where we have a leader that shows leadership every day. We have a legislature that gets it. We have an attorney general that's the very best, and she works with our office on a lot of long-term investigations. In fact, General, we're in the process of seeking out some people today that some of your team has worked with us on. So God bless the United States of America. And listen, we've got to send a message, not just across the state.
Hey, that's I'm dying laughing, bro. Shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre said, bro, that shit is on a dinner napkin. Bro, you know Grady had his wife sew it too.
But across this nation, the people have a right to be safe.
So our next speaker, I talked about where we were on all these issues and then what we've been able to do over the last 5+ years. And the next speaker is now a representative who's helped do some big things in the last year and a half, but was actually with us way back in 2019 as a private citizen, supporting our policies to do things like ban sanctuary cities, because this is an issue, illegal immigration, that touched her family and in the most profound way. And so I'm going to invite up Representative Michael from Florida's 16th House District to tell you about it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's hard to follow. Sheriff Judd. I just want to acknowledge our Lieutenant Governor.
So see, this is what I'm telling y'all. When it comes to WS and the stuff that they be saying about DEI, they don't have a problem with DEI as long as they're weaponizing it, because there go your DEI intersectional right there at the podium right now. Shout out to Lala Papa. What's good? There go your intersectional DEI right there. She gonna be unemployed in a minute probably, but still.
Our Attorney General, Sheriff Judd, Bernie Jock. Oh, I'll tell you, we fought a good fight. I pulled you aside because I'm like, I think that they are just crazy. Help me here. And Representative Plakin and Representative Bell, and especially to you, Governor, because you're, I was driving here and I was thinking back in 2019, I had no idea I would be running for office. And here you were reaching out and you wanted to hear from my husband and our daughters.
See, Ron DeSantis reached out. Now, let me ask you guys this. You guys know how Ron DeSantis feels about black people. You know how Ron DeSantis feels about black history, right? So now she just said Ron DeSantis reached out for her. So let me ask y'all this question in the comment section. What did Ron DeSantis see about her? He seen the twinkle in her eyes. You know what I'm saying? He's seen the twinkle in her eyes. Shout out to the lovely Sherry. What's good with it?
Here and the little boy over here acting up. That's our only grandchild. So we give him a lot of grace. And you wanted to hear about our Brendan. And for those of you all that don't know my story, our 21-year-old son, Brandon Randolph Michael, and we're from Jacksonville, Florida, was on his lunch break, and he was just going.
She's from Jacksonville. She's from Jacksonville, the city where Ron DeSantis's Floridians deleted 5 black people. They also had, if I'm not mistaken, they had either a race riot in Jacksonville, like in the 60s, or they had some type of massacre in Jacksonville in the 60s. It's amazing that you could come from there and somehow find some type of quote unquote political common ground with some dude that basically authorized an assassination at Dollar General. That to me is wild. But remember, he handpicked her because he's seen the twinkle in her eye. He's seen that twinkle.
Typical 21-year-old going to cash his paycheck on his lunch break, and a twice deported That's why this legislation is so important. These bills are so important and why they're so dear to me. A twice deported illegal alien that had been in Jacksonville at least 7 years that we know of hit our child. He could not read the signs. People want to give him driver's licenses. I don't know if they've thought about they probably cannot read our signs. Who could not read the sign that he was not supposed to make a U-turn at that particular location in Jacksonville. Ran into our child, caused his car to flip, and he killed him. And then he got out of the car and watched him take his last breath. And because he got out of the car, we were forced as a family that's already traumatized, because I just told him, I'll see you when you get back. You need to have oatmeal. That's what mamas do. And now someone's telling me he's gone. Every parent's nightmare. You never want to hear anything like that. Never expected that. He was totally healthy. He was engaged to be married. And he was looking forward to his future. He loved the Dallas Cowboys. Didn't care for the Jaguars too much, but. And now we are forced to go to court. We're victimized again because now the state had to prove that that illegal alien was in the car and he came through the southern border.
So see, I want you guys to pay very close attention, right? As long as your victim story substantiates something that they're trying to do, oh, it's perfectly okay to be a victim story. Matter of fact, it's perfectly okay to have a victim story. As a matter of fact, we'll even give you a microphone so that you can tell your victim story. But when your victim story is something about true history that's really making them look nasty, oh, then that's when they have a big problem with the victimhood. Because I'm sitting here waiting for all these proud white people to sit here and tell her stop being a victim and get over it because her son died in the past. What's stopping you from doing anything now? Because that's what they would tell any one of us. Would you guys agree? That's what they would tell any one of us. Oh, you know, like I miss my son. Well, why do you keep thinking about it? It was in the past. Get over it. You have to move past these things. You have to move past these things. Why are they telling her that? Because Ron DeSantis saw that twinkle in her eye.
Same one that we're still having problems with today. And after all of the battles and weeks of having to sit there and look at the person that took my child's life that should have never been in this country, he was only sentenced to 2 years. Deported for the third.
And another thing that these white people would say was, well, you know, everybody doesn't need to have a driver's license. I mean, your son, he's probably somebody who was a DEI who had a driver's license. So who's to say how competent he was at driving anyway? I mean, there's not any cameras or anything that showed the accident. If this was Twitter, that's what they'd be saying. If you guys agree that that's what all those things that I just said is the knee-jerk response of what most white people would say, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that that's what they would say, give me a thumbs down and let me know what you think they would say. They would say, oh, we care so much. Shout out to Patrick Taylor, first stream sponsor. Make sure you guys show him some love. Throw some flames and radiation emoji in the chat for my man Patrick Taylor with the $1.99 super chat. He says, these black politicians are a liability to us. Yeah, I agree. Black politicians are a liability to us because of the white political structure. You know what I'm saying? They pick and choose those people. And then try to turn around and say that we picked and chose them. You know what I'm saying? Like Ron DeSantis literally said, he picked her. He reached out to her. Literally, he said it in this video. So that's just proof right there. And you know, she brown skinned, you know what I'm saying? She, you know, an average everyday passing white person to just be like, oh yeah, see, there's a black person right there. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Third time. And he's probably back in our community. So when 2020 happened and I knew that Biden was going to do exactly what he said he was going to do, as a mama, that mama bear rose up in me. I'm going to run for office because nobody's going to beat me arguing why our borders need to be and have to be closed. and nobody has been able to beat me. And I'm just getting started, I'll tell you that. I'm not going to stay long, but I want to thank you.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. What real actual black person would Ron DeSantis support working with him? I'm going to tell you this 100% honest truth. Ron DeSantis would never deal with an actual free from the matrix black person. That's why he put his eyes on her. He said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, this is more of my speed." And that's how it is in most cases. Honestly, when you put in a job application, that's what they're looking for the job application too. You know what I'm saying?
Because, you know, while New York is just now discovering, well, maybe this whole sanctuary city idea wasn't too good after all, you were already ahead of them. And I remember as a private citizen, I was sitting in the committee room, and I could hear all of the other people saying there is no such thing as sanctuary cities. The governor you were insistent. And we fought hard, and they passed it, and we're in a much better place because you were decisive. You were quick. You recognized what was going on. You didn't wait.
See, so basically all she's there for is to glaze him. She's there to glaze him when his wife ain't around. You know what I'm saying? You, Mr. Governor. You, Mr. Governor. If it wasn't for you, Mr. Governor. See that? That's what she there for. You, Mr. Governor. You, Mr. Governor. And everything you did, Mr. Governor. That's what she there for. That's what she there for. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, when you got her sitting there saying, you know, you, Mr. Governor, you, Mr. Governor, you got Ron DeSantis is like, I got black people on my staff, and look what they say about me. I can't be racist. You know, even though I basically put the green light on to mass shoot black people. You know what I'm saying? That's the bag right there. That's what they do. It's really sad, man. It's really sad that you still got people that fall for it. Let me ask you guys this question. Like, you got to ask this question. Why would you even want that job? Who as a self-respecting person would even want that job? You basically getting paid to polish somebody. Who gonna do that? Why would you do it? What paycheck in the world is good enough? The only people that should be getting paid to polish people are sex workers. Them the only people that should be getting paid to polish people. Should no politicians be doing that? And here go the new name for it. They should call them politicians.
Waste time. You've taken a lot of flight. And I tell you, I take it personally. I get up there and that, you know, I'm in committee and I'm sitting in that chamber and I'm hearing this stuff and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. Wipe him down. She wiping him down. Or wipe him down. Or wipe him down. Is she doing that dance that old boy be doing on the YouTube shorts when he throw his hat down? Y'all know that skinny dude from Baltimore that be on the YouTube shorts that just busts out random the wipe it down dance? That's what she doing right now.
Ooh.
See, look at her. She said, ooh.
And I remember as a private citizen, I was sitting in the committee room and I could hear all of the other people saying there is no such thing as sanctuary cities. The governor you were insistent. And we fought hard and they passed it. And we're in a much better place because you were decisive. You were quick. You recognized what was going on. You didn't waste time. You've taken a lot of flight. And I tell you, I take it personally. I get up there and that, I'm in committee and I'm sitting.
She takes it personally. Anytime somebody says something negative about Ron DeSantis, she could feel it all in her bones. She could feel it like arthritis. That should be all throughout her bones. She got to go get some Vicks vapor rub and some ibuprofen. Because anytime anybody says something about DeSantis, I bet you her and old girl with the plastic big frame glasses that told everybody to be quiet so she could get her gifts from Ron DeSantis when everybody was mourning those victims of that mass shooting. I bet you them two be coming to blows for DeSantis's attention. And Ron DeSantis be sitting there all in his 2-foot-tall glory, like, ladies, don't fight for me. I'm already married to a good white woman. Maybe in another life or something sometime, but don't fight. It's a bad look for us all down here in Florida. Don't fight. This is such a clown show.
In that chamber and I'm hearing this stuff and I'm like, ooh, I just want to kiss somebody because they're talking about my governor.
See, you talk about my man. Oh, man. He the same dude that's going to fire you and put you out on your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Who's an awesome, awesome man. Not just a man of God, a family man, not just a governor, but you're also, to us, you're protective. You care about Floridians. I mean, it makes a difference. I speak from the heart. I don't have anything scripted. I speak from the heart in what I say. And when we were battling over some of these bills and these, especially the identification bills, and I'm hearing people say, well, the law enforcement likes them. And I'm like, is that true? Why would they want people who are not here illegally to have ID? Why are they feeling as though they have the same rights and privileges as American citizens or people who did it right to come into this country, who waited in line and they're proud to be American citizens? They should not have the same rights. And so I'm proud today to stand here and say that I'm going to witness this important legislation being signed.
She going to fight for that pen like how Tim Scott did. Would y'all agree? She going to fight for that pen like Tim Scott did. She going to do the Simone Sanders and run through the safeties and everybody at the line of scrimmage in order to get that pen. Why would you, seriously, God, man, why would you want this job? Why would you want this job? First and foremost, right? It should just be automatic that you understand when you're being disrespectful, and you should never take disrespect for pay. Would you guys agree? Like there should never be a price on disrespect. That's non-negotiable. But you got to ask yourself the question, why is there so many people like this woman here that are willing to take disrespect for pay? You know the reason why people like her and Roland Martin and Tim Scott, you know the reason why they have such an attitude towards other black people is because in most cases, most of the struggles that we're dealing with in our life is because we don't take disrespect for pay. But you do. And you're upset about that. These people don't believe any of the stuff that they say, and they sit there and let it all bubble up. And what's sad about it, in their delusional mind, when they're sitting there, you got Roland Martin huffing and puffing. She's sitting up here saying this nonsense that she's saying. They actually see the person that they're employed by when they're saying all this stuff to us. They superimpose that person that employed them onto us, and they're spitting all that vile anger, irritation, and agitation at that person. But they know that they can't do that, or else that person will cut their lifeline out. So they got to redirect it at us. those of us who have the freedom to not have to move like that. She could have the freedom to not move like that too. That's a choice. Yeah, facts. Shout out to my man DeAndre. Big facts. DeAndre said, all money ain't good money. Facts. And I gotta agree. I agree. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. It's disgusting to see someone throw their dignity in the trash for nothing. Facts. Everything is not worth a paycheck. Everything is not worth a paycheck.
And I thank God for you. I thank God for your family. I thank God for all.
Thank God for your family. For what? What'd they do for you? They cook you dinner or something? She said all this positive stuff about Ron DeSantis, and the most positive thing that Ron DeSantis said about her is nothing. It's nothing. Shout out to Savion Drake Zero. What's good with it, bro?
All the sacrifices, all of you all. We're very blessed to have you all. Florida is the best state to live in. I'll tell you what, we don't even like leaving the state, do we? We're like, we ain't leaving Florida. Wherever we go on vacation. And just as I wrap up a short story, my husband and I were in Southern Florida just a few months ago, and we were driving back to Jacksonville. We got hit from behind. We exchanged information. There was no damage to the car. That's what we do, right? We get back to Jacksonville. I show it to our sheriff's office. They look immediately at the license plates of this person. He's like, that's not a real license. Then they ran the information.
Why didn't y'all call the police officer at the scene of the accident like you're supposed to do? Because if you got rear-ended, then the police should have been called so that that person that rear-ended you would have got cited for following too close. I ain't trying to be like, I'm for real. Am I wrong? Am I lying? If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. This car accident that she's describing right now, when that occurred, shouldn't she have called the police? And the police would have wrote a police report from both parties, and then the report that was given to both parties then submitted to the insurance company, and the insurance adjusters then determine who's at fault and who's not. Isn't that how that's supposed to go? Why didn't she call the police? Look at this. Let's go over this story again real quick.
Fought hard, and they passed it, and we're in a much better place because you were.
Shout out to Chris. What's good with it, bro?
You recognized what was going on. You didn't waste time. You've taken a lot of flight. And I tell you, I take it personally. I get up there and I'm in committee and I'm sitting in that chamber and I'm hearing this stuff and I'm like, ooh, I just want to get somebody because they're talking about my governor, who's an awesome, awesome man, not just a man of God, a family man, not just a governor, but you're also to us, you're protective. You care about Floridians. I mean, it makes a difference. I speak for—
He cares so much about Floridians that he wants to make sure that everybody knows the accurate history of Black people in Florida. Shout out to Benjamin. Benjamin said it's because she's not FBA. I really think she's a pretendian. That's hilarious. Y'all think she's FBA? Shout out to the lovely Sherry. Lovely Sherry says, is she really from Florida? I don't know. Yeah, she in the Tim Scott territory. She definitely in the Tim Scott territory. She just moved into the neighborhood. She kissing his booty from the back. Savion. You know what I'm saying? that's that's crazy. She kissing this booty from the back, man. That's wild, man.
From the heart. I don't have anything scripted. I speak from the heart and what I say. And when we were battling over some of these bills and these, especially the identification bills, you know, and I'm hearing people say, well, you know, the law enforcement likes them. And I'm like, is that true? Why would they want people who are not here illegally to have ID? Why are they feeling as though they have the same rights and privileges as American citizens or people who did it right to come into this country, who waited in line and they're proud to be American citizens? They should not have the same rights. And so I'm proud today to stand here and say that I'm going to witness this important legislation being signed. And I thank God for you. I thank God for your family. I thank God for all the sacrifices.
Hey, I'm not trying to be funny, man, but she's that lady. she's that lady, and y'all know what I'm talking about. She's that one at work that if she's the manager and you happen to be 5 minutes late, she's going to make the biggest deal out of it ever. And it's like, why are you here? Y'all ever worked with people like that? I'm talking about, I know who I'm talking about. Got to have a whole interview with you. Got to come up with a correction plan of how you're going to get to work on time. Man, if you don't shut your ass up, I guarantee you she's one of them people that takes her job way too seriously. Look at, you can tell she take that glazing job serious. You know what I'm saying? DeAndre done pulled her transcript. He says she graduated from her and Tim Scott are alumni from the School of Glaze. Johnny Glaze. Oh man, that's like that song. Who was that? The Genius from Wu-Tang Clan. Oh man. Oh man. Johnny Glaze.
Sacrifices, all of you all. We're very blessed to have you all. Florida is the best state to live in. I'll tell you what, we don't even like leaving the state, do we? We're like, we ain't leaving Florida. Wherever we go on vacation. And just as I wrap up a short story, my husband and I were in Southern Florida just a few months ago, and we were driving back to Jacksonville. We got hit from behind. We exchanged information. There was no damage to the car. That's what we do, right? We get back to Jacksonville. I show it to our sheriff's office. They look immediately at the license plates of this person. He's like, that's not a real license.
Why would you show that information to the sheriff's office? You was like, I'm gonna just randomly show this to y'all. Like I said, I'm not trying to be funny, man, but this story, you know what I'm saying? The story is whack. Shout out to Chris. Chris said she even got the white lady bangs. That's crazy. That story doesn't check out if you ask me, because why would you you just have that information with you the whole time? Like, you just keep random people's license plate numbers in your car randomly, and then wherever you had it at in your car, you took it out of the car and just happened to have it with you when you was talking to a sheriff, and then you just said, here, look, I'm gonna show you this person's driver's license. When, where, and how did he look it up? This one of them fake stories, like them stories that Eric Adams be telling about when he was on the force. Yeah, that's facts. Bro, she's one of them people that has a conversation. I had a teacher like this way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And she would get right in your face. And like, she wouldn't get in your face to be disrespectful. It was just how she communicated. And her breath smelled like shit. Like, it actually smelled like a hot heaping pile of shit. You know what I'm saying? And she would talk right in your damn face. And she talks slow as hell too. So you just be sitting there and you like try not to make a face or like try not to laugh. But you know what I'm saying? You like, man, you really need to invest in some breath mints or some gum or something like that. And you need that strong gum. You need that strong, not the peppermint, because that's not strong enough. You need that green mint with like the aerosol shit in it. That's the kind of mint that you need. Like you really need some type of gum with antiseptic in it to get that motherfucking odor out of your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But them type of people, bro, they get right in your face. And bro, I'm telling you right now, her breath smells like a dead body. As soon as she opened up her mouth, some dying here or something. I'm guaranteeing you, bro. Because I'm telling you, a lot of times, like when the back dental work is not there, it's a lot of places where, you know what I'm saying, shit can get stored at and stay for a long time, and you can't really reach it with a toothbrush, and everybody ain't flossing like they claim they are every day. You know what I'm saying? So she get right up on you with that motherfucking Medusa breath, and you breathe too much of that shit in, it turn you right into stone.
Then they ran the information. That person doesn't exist. So this is real. It is happening. You've heard it so many before me. So many people before me, you've heard this. But my entire purpose here today, and when I go back to Tallahassee, is to make sure that no other mother, not another father, no other family has to endure what we've had to do. And I know that it's happening. I know that we're trying to slow it down. We're trying to do everything we can. But I'll tell you what, without the best governor that there is, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. And
we wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't be able to do nothing if it wasn't for Ron DeSantis. If it wasn't for Ron DeSantis, her life would just fall apart. Florida would just fall apart. The whole world would fall apart. I don't know if I could ever stream again for you guys. Oh, man. That sounds like that apocalyptic breath that has no cure, bro. It is that apocalyptic breath. Is that apocalyptic breath, bro? Listen, she could probably drink an entire liter bottle of that yellow Listerine. You know what I'm saying? Not the weaker forms of Listerine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the purple one and the blue one. I'm talking about the yellow one, bro. The one that like burn the skin out of your mouth. She could drink that and it wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't do a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't do nothing.
And I'm very grateful. I'm honored. And thank you so much.
Okay, now we're also going to hear from somebody that's been touched in a very profound way.
Hey, do y'all see that Ron DeSantis has a big knot above his left eye? I wonder where that came from. You see, it's like a big circular speed knot right above his left eye. Where did that come from?
By this issue, we have Nikki Jones.
Good morning. I'm speaking on behalf of my husband, Shane Jones. He lost his life to an illegal alien drinking and driving back in 2019. The illegal alien that killed my husband had multiple high-risk traffic violations in between Hillsborough County and Polk County, including DUIs, and traffic crashes involved.
Chris said, get ready. She about to say something crazy. Why do you think she about to say something crazy? Oh, man, you know she about to say something crazy. It's on the way.
Involving property damage. ICE was never, ever contacted on any of those instances. He was even granted to attend DUI school in the state of Florida with his first DUI conviction back in 2013. And he was able to find comfort to live in Hillsborough County without any harsh consequences of his high-risk traffic violations. My husband was a 21-year veteran that just retired a year prior when he was killed. That left me to raise our 2 daughters alone. At the time of his death, they were 6 months old and 2 years old. I am in support of these immigration bills being placed because if they were in place and upheld prior to my husband being killed and immigration law was followed through, I believe he would be alive today and my children would still have their father. But instead, we're sitting here today and my children are forced to live and get raised in a broken home. I not only want to speak on behalf of my family and children, but on behalf of all families in the state of Florida and the United States that have fell victim to illegal alien crimes. Not only are the families in this country being destroyed by high-risk traffic violations on a daily basis, but also in drug, sex, and child trafficking crimes. My husband did not serve his lifetime for this country and serve wartime on behalf of our country to just be killed on his own soil by a person that was illegally here, that had multiple opportunities to be removed and wasn't. Shane would have wanted our families to feel safe and not have our families and children destroyed at the hands of illegal alien crimes. In many cases, could have been 100% avoidable if laws, bills, and policies were in place and upheld. I want to thank Governor Ron DeSantis, Representative Michael, Representative Jocks, Florida Attorney General Moody, and Sheriff Grady Judd to allow the voices of victims of illegal alien crimes to be heard and recognized and supported. We are the voices that are often silenced, and I thank you for not only the support, but taking action on behalf of the families and children of these senseless, avoidable crimes.
Great job. So we're gonna make this official momentarily. Part of it also, I mean, you've heard a lot of, I think really.
All right, so after this, all they're gonna do for the most part is just sign those bills into law, which, I mean, Ron DeSantis for the most part is using the Haitian crisis optics to galvanize his support for what he's trying to do as far as utilize the migrant crisis to improve his political standing, which has already taken a hell of a hit since he got destroyed early on in the runnings by Trump. You know what I'm saying? And he's not going to be president anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? Ron DeSantis is just angry. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get up out of here, I want to shout out the stream sponsor. Shout out to my man, Patrick Taylor, with the $1.99 super chat. Make sure you guys show him some love. Please throw some flames, radiation emoji, and ducks in the chat. If you're not subscribed to all of my channels, make sure you take a moment, subscribe to my backup channels. Also, if you're not subscribed to my Twitter, make sure you subscribe to at Base Reality 2 on Twitter. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for checking out the stream. Shout out to the replay gang. If you're watching on the replay gang, make sure you comment with hashtag replay gang. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,